Hi, welcome to my channel. The full version of the audiobook is available on my Patreon. You can quickly find it through the link in my profile description. Thank you for your support.
Chapter 1: A Different Marvel World. My name is Duke, and if I am right, I should be the protagonist this time. My mother gave me the name, saying that I hope I can be as promising as the Duke in the future. Dad named it Dukong, saying that Dukong is the god of Dionysus, and he is more promising. My mother slapped me and said that Dukong is a drunkard with something to do, so I called him Duke. Sometimes I keep thinking, if I was called Dukong at that time, would it really be promising? After wasting half of my life, this one is finally promising for a while. In order to save a girl I didn't know, I fell from the 7th floor. To be more precise, in the process of falling. I finally became the protagonist for a while, and I only hope that when the newspaper reports it, it will give a positive image. I also hope that girl can remember my brother. At a glance, she seems quite beautiful. I should be about to hit the ground soon, but at the last moment of my life, what I thought in my heart was, I hope my face doesn't fall too badly. However, this last extravagant hope seems to be quite difficult to realize, because I am head down. Feeling Geo is a bit strange. Although the physics results are not very good, but I also know that it only takes a few seconds to fall from the 7th floor, but why does it feel like falling for a whole century? The eyelids were so heavy that I couldn't open them at all until, plop. A big sip of water poured into his mouth, fishy, salty, astringent, bitter. My first reaction was, I fell into the sea. I fell off a fishing boat once, and it feels the same. But the second reaction was, how could there be a sea downstairs? The third reaction is a strong sense of fainting. The huge impact of the sea water, coupled with the cold suffocation, and the choking of a large mouthful of sea water, the spirit was in a state of confusion. Although I know I can't sleep now, but I really have no strength left. In a half-conscious state, he seemed to see a mermaid swimming towards him in his hazy vision, and in the next moment he was completely stunned. In the end, I felt that my mouth was covered by a kind of softness. Attention! Attention! Host, your life is being threatened. There was a very cold mechanical sound in my head, mixed with some messy movements, like the whining of horns, the roar of horseshoes, the rhythmic neighing of horses, gunshots, and some whizzing whoosh. Don't know what it is. Damn, why is it so noisy? Can you let me sleep well? Current stimulation will be performed in 10 seconds, and the countdown will start at 10, 9. Current your sister. 3, 2, 1, 0. Zila, it feels like being struck by lightning. Wow, it hurts, hurts. Sitting up in shock from the dying illness, Duke woke up suddenly, and then. Looking at the epic battle scene in front of me, my head was a little dazed, and I couldn't help asking 3 major philosophical questions in life. Who am I, where am I, what am I doing? Congratulations to the host, you have successfully crossed countless light years and space barriers, and traveled to the Marvel world of the parallel universe. As one of the lucky ones in billions, you will receive the technical support of the strongest talent system. Marvel. Duke was stunned for a moment, then pointed to Gal Gadot, who was fighting bloody battles with the invaders on the beach in the distance, and shouted, "System, can you be reliable? This Marvel world? You tell me, who is that? Crossed? Never mind this. Don't bother with the talent system or anything. I just want to know, which Marvel world will have Wonder Woman?" And the plot in front of me is clearly the defense of Paradise Island Beach in Wonder Woman 1. On the same beach, with the same boulders, a group of female soldiers dressed in Spartan were fighting with a group of crooked soldiers wearing old-fashioned military uniforms and holding rifles. Forgive the pig's feet, he can't tell the difference between the Spartan dress and the Amazon dress. They are all from the Aegean Sea anyway. After that, he found a familiar figure. Isn't that Gal Gadot, that 360-degree beauty with no dead ends? He was not like the other 2 beep traversers. His first reaction was to film a movie. Because he fell from the 7th floor, it's impossible to have a cross-country fall, okay, and he just fell right onto the Wonder Woman set. Besides, when he fell, the movie had been released for several years, okay? So, either time travel, or dreaming. He slapped himself. It hurt, it hurt, it hurt so much. It's time to travel properly. It seems to be a DC movie, why not Marvel? I'm not familiar with DC old papers, although Marvel has only seen those movies. The system is still saying it's Marvel, piss me off, right? It has been detected that there is a movie-watching memory in the host's memory that is very similar to this world. Analyzing. Analyzing. After preliminary testing, 30% of this world coincides with the DC movie universe in the host's memory, and it is similar to the Marvel movie universe. The coincidence degree of the universe is 60%. Therefore, this system named this world Marvel World. Please explore the specific situation by the host. Duke's eyes were stunned and he beeped, okay. Your system is the best. Just say that this is the Marvel Universe plus DC Universe, waste so much talk. Wait, 30 plus 60 is only 90. Where did the remaining 10% go? But now is not the time to be concerned about this. What system do you have? The strongest talent system. Let me explain in detail. The host's life is under threat, please activate the novice gift package first. Gift pack for novices. Duke didn't agree immediately, but poked his head out of the rock a little to glance at the fierce battle on the beach, and then shrank back in a hurry. The bow and arrow swished back and forth, swish, swish, bullet bayou bayou bayou, and there was a dead female warrior on the cliff behind her, hanging on a rope, looking a little funny. This is the battlefield. This is death. Duke is kinda square. P.S. First of all, I have opened a new book, a codeword dog who has struggled for N years, keep working hard, never forget the original intention, and forge ahead. Secondly, this is not a pure Marvel universe, but a story that integrates multiple movie worlds. Of course, Marvel is the main course, DC is the side dish, Transformers are the side dishes, and the rest are side dishes and seasonings. Do you want to see Iron Man vs. Transformers? Is it the powerful alien mechanical life, or the most powerful genius brain on Earth? Lost Dr. Banner meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Green vs. Green. Avengers vs. Justice League. Duke vs. Superman, who will win? In the unified new fusion world, there will probably be Marvel series, X-Men series, DC series, the ones with heroines, Transformers series, King Kong Skull Island, Godzilla series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, Revenge Behemoth, and so on. P.S. Because the timeline and Earth view of the DC movie universe and the Marvel movie universe cannot be accurately unified, the place, time, age of the hero, plot, etc. of the story are all subject to the author's arrangement. Of course, no, the difference is too huge. So, please don't criticize these small changes. The difficulty factor of integrating the world is relatively high, so there may be some small mistakes. Welcome new and old friends to point out unreasonable places, and I will correct them appropriately. This time, Ant has absorbed the deficiencies of the last Marvel, and strives to write a masterpiece to give back to readers. Oh yes, now the author is called a monk. What? End of this chapter. Chapter 2 S-Class Orange Card. Newbie Gift Pack. Hey, as we all know, the novice gift package is based on luck and RP that as long as you are lucky enough, it is not a problem to issue a red card. There is not one successful lucky person in a billion. If this is not counted as an overwhelming luck index, what is it? As for this strongest talent system, we will study it later, now is not the time to engage in academics. The bow and arrow swish, the bullet bayou bayou bayou, even if he hides behind a rock, what if there is a ejection, after finally crossing, it would be unlucky to be killed by mistake before the system was activated. Looking at the traces of dragging on the beach, coupled with the wet clothes, and the messy footprints behind the rock, there is no doubt that he should be rescued by the heroine and dragged behind this rock. Reminiscing about the softness on his lips before he completely passed out, could it be that the heroine gave him artificial respiration? Oh, no. No, don't be that man. In the next instant, a slot machine. Duke beeped in bewilderment, what kind of newbie gift package is this? Please press the host on the fingerprint. Is it here? Duke found the pattern of a palm flickering on the bottom right of the screen of the slot machine, and immediately printed it on it, then countless options appeared on the screen, scrolling rapidly. Can't see clearly. Too fast. But Duke could vaguely see a few words, magic, totem warrior, hunter, bard, assassin, paladin, épée warrior, etc. according to the host's physique, IQ, knowledge, understanding, etc., comprehensively evaluate the most suitable talent ability. Of course, it is also possible, the host has no talent. Damn, brother is the protagonist, how could he not be talented? When options is no longer scrolling, what stops in the middle of the screen is magic. My talent is magic. Duke wondered, he thought about being a hunter, after all, the first magic game character was a hunter. But this is not wrong, his favorite thing to watch is Western fantasy anime. I don't know about physique, IQ, and knowledge, but in terms of comprehension, his basis of magic theory should be pretty good. Congratulations to the host, your talent is generalized talent. Generalized? Yes, host, the probability of narrow sense talent is 99%, and broad sense talent is 1%. Broad sense and narrow sense refer to. Oh, I understand, broad sense refers to the big category of magic, right? It's a large-scale type, and narrow sense refers to ice, fire, like this? Yes, host. Your talent is magic, then you will be able to learn all kinds of magic. But if the host's talent is fire, the host will not be able to learn other departments. Okay, I understand. Duke nodded, saying that brother is the protagonist, that, this talent, is my big gift bag, right? If so, it would be too pitiful. This is only used to determine the talent of the host. The screen of the slot machine scrolled again, and this time it was more clearly seen. There were some magic movies, games, comics, animations and the like on it. World of Warcraft, One Piece, Fairy Tail, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Does One Piece count as magic? Oh yes, nature. Come to a flashing fruit, a thunderous fruit, the speed is fast, the attack is powerful, and the key is that you can't kill it. Grim Reaper. One Piece doesn't matter, so does Reaper, oh, and some of the fight scenes do, well, right? Finally, the screen freezes on Fairy Tail. Demon, Tail. Duke was a little disappointed, but he quickly let go of it. After all, he is also one of the 4 major migrant comics. It would be so cool to draw a lost-level ancient magic. Then I saw. Countless character avatar cards were created by swiping, almost filling the entire screen. Duke knew that the above were all the characters in Fairy Tail, from D-level to SS-level character avatar cards. He seems to understand that his magic ability is the corresponding character card. Whatever magic the card character knows, he will know it. Immediately afterwards, the cursor moved, just like we pick a hero when playing a game. The cursor moved quickly, and gradually slowed down. Ah, it's Missy, stop, oh. Seeing the cursor gradually passing over the favorite character card, Duke was very annoyed. Needless to say, Minieba, the eldest lady of the Sword-Biting Tiger Guild, is glamorous and beautiful. The most important thing is that her magic is the high-level space magic of absolute territory, and she can manipulate the space at will. The most buggy trick is hide space, which can hide your opponent or yourself in the space. The enemy can't hit you, it is an absolute life-saving and sneak attack magic. And there is also the magic of the lost ancient demon 18 fighting gods, but now, everything is empty. Jerf. Seeing that the speed of the cursor continued to slow down and might stop at this card, Duke became excited again, but soon became frightened. Nima, hurry, go, oh, thank goodness, who? That's right, Jerf is one of the 2 strongest bosses in Fairy Tail. His magic is certainly the strongest, but, that's, death's forbidden magic. A magic that can make people around you burp if you are not careful. He doesn't want to be cursed. August, Oich, and O. Mist Gang. Could it be Gildas? Forget it, it seems to be Natsu. Natsu is also fine, anyway, he is also the protagonist of Fairy Tail. We are both protagonists, and we are a good match. Unfortunately, the cursor finally crossed Natsu's character card and stopped at. What, Fairy Tail Guild, Thunder Gods, A-rank mage, feel it Justin. Oh, no. Although it is an S-level orange card, but, this character's presence is not very strong, and he belongs to the list of supporting roles. Although it is an A-level mage, it has an S-level level, even though its magic is also very buggy. P.S. follow-up and recommendation votes are still very important. Take a few minutes every day to look at them, and you can add some data. If you have votes, please support them. Thank you. The main reason is that votes affect the recommendation position. End of this chapter. Chapter 3 Rescue Antiope. As a code-word dog who often writes time-traveling texts, Duke was already adapting to the world the moment he opened his eyes. The beach battle is fierce. The moment the spear pierced the chest, blood spurted out, not like stabbing a puppet like in the movie. Bullet bayu bayu bayu, one by one Amazon women warriors fell slowly. Duke subconsciously felt that it was time for him to make a move. Sue really didn't want to see that Steve, who exploded to death after being excited, was showing off his masculinity, and he also wanted the heroine to look at him high. After all, how should I put it, it is also the 360-degree goddess with no dead ends that I have watched countless times in my previous life. And it's a real goddess. After Philip Justin's magic melted into his mind, he mastered it almost instantly. His magic is spell, magic, dark text. Spell, write down the rules, and range, to make people who step into it fall into the trap. It is a kind of enchantment, impose a rule on those who step into the barrier. If the target does not abide by it, they will not be able to get out of the barrier. The rule can also make the target lose its power. For example, write down the rule of, people who use magic will be short of oxygen, as long as they use magic once, they can suffocate the other party. And so on. Magic, dark text, you can also write dark text on the target or yourself, so that the text on the painting becomes a reality. For example, if you write panic or severe pain on the target, it will cause mental damage to the target. If you draw darkness on yourself, you can turn your body into a demon-like shape. Looking at the faint black light shining on his hands, Duke felt so magical, as if he could touch the rules. The system is not mistaken, spell is a kind of enchantment, and in the field of magic, it is also the top category of the pyramid. Rule belongs to the domain category. So its growth rate is really high. The enchantment is a bit troublesome, and it is too late to describe it now, so I can only use dark text magic. Bless yourself first, then say, swish, swish, quickly write on yourself. Wing, make oneself grow wings to fly. Reject, can bounce back the target's attack. Hiss, it's hot, it's so hot. The first time I cast magic, I felt as if my entire back was going to burn, and the blood on my back seemed to rise to degrees in an instant. It was boiling hot. Immediately afterwards, a pair of huge, black, fallen angel-like wings that shone with black light spread out. The battlefield was fiercely fought, and no one noticed this side, only the Amazon Queen Hippolyta who rushed over with a team on horseback discovered it. Exclamation point. Of course, before she could react, Duke spread his wings, and took to the sky. Ha, the wind is blowing. Steve, who was fighting, was shocked to see a huge black shadow flashing across the ground, and subconsciously shrank his neck. Hold the grass, what is it? Nearly got hit by a bullet. Ha, so cool, it turns out that this is the feeling of flying. It's amazing, it's amazing. Duke, who flew into the air, finally realized the so-called human dream. Bayou, boom. Just when he was enjoying the exhilaration of flying, a very disturbing bullet landed on his chest. Thanks to the rejection, the bullet bounced off, otherwise I would have gone to hell right away. After being hit by a bullet, Duke was also a little confused. Okay, let's end this battle first. With a straight body, a fierce sun swooped down. Damn! The soldier was also frightened, so he subconsciously went off. Seeing that he was swooping down towards him, he quickly picked up his gun, and it was a bang shot. That it's a pity that this thing is a rifle, and it can only be fired one shot at a time. If it shoots slightly. I'm afraid that Duke, who hasn't fully mastered flying at this moment, may really burp. He swooped down, grabbed it with one hand, and flew into the sky again. Ah 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 ah. Death. A dark text was written on the soldier. Ah, ah. The soldier's eyes widened suddenly, his mouth opened wide and he stopped screaming, but the gun fell down, and his hands were tightly grasping the heart, with an extremely painful expression on his face. Death, make the target's heart stop beating, and then die. It's really easy to use. Duke smiled and let go of his hand. The German soldier fell down and died on the beach, vomiting blood from his mouth. So this is what it looks like falling from the 7th floor. He was actually dead before he hit the ground. The dark text seems to be able to attack remotely. So Duke stood differently, leaning on his wings one by one, suspended in mid-air, the index fingers of both hands pointed at the German soldiers, a round of black and purple magic words slowly rotated at the fingertips, and then Bayu Bayu Baus, hit the German soldiers. Then, a funny scene appeared. All the soldiers who were shot dropped their rifles, either covered their heads with their hands, or squatted on the ground and rubbed their backs in horror. Most of the soldiers were shouting, "Get out, no, 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 don't come to me, ah. I don't want to die, let me go," and similar words. Fear, make the target see the most terrifying picture in his heart and lose all willpower. This. The American team's namesake, Steve, was stunned for a moment, but he still fired, bang bang bang, brains burst. The heroine was a little stunned, and looked up at the sky, a little shocked that she saved, what, just now. This gave the German soldiers a chance to pick up their rifles with a bang. Duke remembered such a plot, so he kept paying attention. When he saw the soldier holding his gun, he typed out the dark text almost subconsciously. Absolute defense, resist all damage. Calculated based on Duke's current hero-level strength, absolute defense can withstand a hero-level full blow, and an attack at the legendary level is unstoppable. Unfortunately, Antiope did not know. She is in front of the heroine, and the dark text carved by Duke is behind that eye. In other words, even if she saw it, she didn't know what it was. No. A swoop, bang, the bullet hits. No. The female hero was terrified, and rushed to hug Antiope's bleeding body, looking at the big puddles of blood on her hands, weak, pitiful, and helpless. No. No, no, Antiope Opera, Antiope, ho, ho. She wanted to cover the wound, but she couldn't cover it no matter what. The blood was still flowing, and she could even feel Antiope's life passing away, and the blood was getting colder. Diana, it is time, you must. What? Antiope, what did you say? Fuck. Duke in the sky is depressed, he has forgotten this plot, but even if he remembered, he didn't care. What about Antiope? It doesn't matter where a heroine is. If she didn't rush forward, wouldn't the heroine die? He didn't know if the heroine's self-healing ability could even heal bullet wounds. Wait, this seems like an opportunity. So the wings shrank, and it swooped down again. With both feet, the neck of the German soldier was kicked hard, and then hurriedly ran to the side of the heroine. I can. How do you say, I can save her, in English? Duke was a little confused. After all, the situation was very critical. He forgot that the heroine knew hundreds of languages, including Chinese. This is an American film, and he subconsciously thought that English could be spoken here. Forget it. Duke scratched his head, and quickly wrote dark words on the beach around Antiope. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. I crashed into his plane with feelings. There is no doubt that now is the best time to make friends with Queen Hippolyta on Shuren Paradise Island, and increase the favorability of the heroine. As long as Antiope is rescued, he will become a guest of Paradise Island instead of being expelled. You know, just now the system has reminded him that there are two people in Paradise Island who can put him to death. One is the heroine, and the other is the mother of the heroine. Of course, the mother of the heroine can only be achieved after relying on some special equipment to improve her combat power. Therefore, he is not absolutely safe now. Although judging from the movie, the heroine's mother is not a murderous woman, but his origin is not easy to say. Just in case. In addition, you should know that since the same name of the American team, Steve, appeared on Paradise Island, it should be the time of World War I. If there is no accident, it should be 1918. In the movie, the signing of the armistice agreement is being prepared. It is estimated that it will be in October. After all, the agreement will be signed on Singles' Day to declare the end of the war. Staying during World War I, and somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, the closest places to Duke are English, Spanish, Portuguese, and French, and he can't speak English. In addition, this is still an ancient era when there was no international aviation in World War I. He really doesn't know when international aviation appeared, but the first time to cross the Atlantic was in 1927, and there were already international flights during World War II. Of course, whether this world is the same is still uncertain for the time being. In addition, he has no ID card and basically can't go anywhere. Money is easy to talk about, and you can get it by blackmailing anyone. It's not hard to get on an ocean-going ship, but the point is, where to? Are you going to China? At this time, still fighting among warlords? P.S. Those who are weak in heart, who have to drag the author to write chapters on China, who feel that they are traitors if they don't give an explanation, or those who have other ghosts, please read chapters 44 and 65 later. Thank you. If someone uses such unreasonable things to accuse and abuse the author for no reason, don't come and argue why you are banned. Thank you. He still decided to stay on Daughter Island for the time being. Cough cough, Paradise Island, let's take a step to see. Therefore, it is urgent to save Antiope. What are you doing? At this moment, the heroine was a little flustered. She raised her hand and wanted to push, but her hand was caught. The moment he grabbed the heroine's hand, Duke's heart skipped a beat. This hand didn't look rough like a female warrior should have. If you don't want her to die, you'd better not move. Although it feels good in the hand, it still loosens and continues to depict the dark characters. Strange to say, after writing the black runes around her, the heroine felt that Antiope's aura calmed down. All right. After the dark words were connected together, Duke stood up and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Nima, fortunately it worked. It would be embarrassing if it didn't work. Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, strode over. Before she could ask, Duke explained first, this is called a spell, and it is a kind of enchantment magic. You may not understand it, but it can be regarded as it's a rule. As long as she doesn't leave this range, she won't die. The queen is the queen, calm and calm. She just nodded to Duke without saying anything, then knelt on the beach to check her sister's breath. Gradually, the shock in my heart became bigger and bigger. My sister's wound was still bleeding, but she just didn't die. Taboo technique, the resurrection of the dead. At this moment, Duke realized the problem. Do you understand Chinese? Just subconsciously explained. We understand hundreds of languages. The heroine stood up slowly, giving the answer. Duke, I'm such an idiot. Antiope, won't she die like this? You're thinking too much, girl. The rules of the surgery are not like that. Duke waved his hand. Female xia, girl. The rules of the spell require a prerequisite before the result can be achieved. It is the model of, because, so, not just, so, understand. The woman frowned slightly and shook her head. I don't understand. Duke scratched his hair and pointed to the magic text on the ground. Let's put it this way, the magic text has bound her life to this area, and she will die if she leaves. The rule here is, as long as the wind hits her, she won't die. The rules of the art are like this, the result can only be achieved if the conditions are set in advance. And not to be, people in this circle don't die. This is impossible. For example, the person who uses magic once will suffocate, instead of standing in the boundary and suffocating. Then Antiope. The heroine was stunned. Wouldn't she still die? And, can't leave the beach? Duke was speechless. You should have a doctor, right? Hurry up and treat her. I bought you time. If you still can't save her, then prepare to kill yourself. As for these magic words, don't worry, they are not written in the sand. This is the power of rules. Well, you don't understand it. Damn, I don't understand either. The general understanding is just a taste of space. Words are written in the space, not really written on the sand. Even if the sea breeze blows the beach clean, the words will not disappear. Then, can this spell be moved? The female hero asked. No. The spell has been written down, unless it is scattered and rewritten, but I don't guarantee that she can survive until you move into the house. The spell does not really make Antiope immortal, it just delays it for a period of time, which is about a week or so. After all, Antiope does not have the self-healing power of a heroine. Although she has a strong body, she was hit in the heart. It would be good if she could finish those few sentences with strength. The surgery keeps her alive, relying on overdrawing her vitality. Only in this way can it be guaranteed that after losing part of the blood, the body's supply can still keep up. Therefore, this consumes her vital functions. If the heart is not sutured, when the functional potential is completely exhausted, she will be hopeless. As the queen, Hippolyta acted swiftly and quickly, and immediately commanded, "Bring the doctor immediately, and build a simple wooden house to keep out the sand and rain, and arrange for people to fan the wind for Antiope without stopping for a moment." Yes. The female warriors had to keep busy, collecting corpses, bringing people to bring people, and by the way, bring the carpenter guys here. As for Antiope, he fell into a coma due to the sudden surge of vitality. To fight against the outside world, the inside must be settled first. Now that the inside is settled, it is time to deal with the outside. Hippolyta coldly glanced at Steve, "The same name of the American team, are you together?" "What did she say?" Duke asked the heroine familiarly. "She asked, are you together?" "Together? No. Of course not, I don't know him." Duke didn't want to have anything to do with Steve, the same name of the US team. The American team with the same name also denied it, NO, @ and %, UN, hashtag, and %. What did he say? Duke understood a NO, an I, and everything else was like a Bible. The woman looked at Duke curiously. "He said he couldn't tell us his name, and he didn't break in here on purpose," he said. "You fell from the sky and hit his plane, that's why." "Walter? Didn't it crash to Paradise Island after being shot down by the German army?" "The feeling is that brother fell from the sky and crashed his plane." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. How dare you say that you are not handsome with a rope? Is that so? Hippolyta turned to look at her daughter. "Maybe. I'm sorry, I didn't actually see this." Diana originally wanted to nod, but she shook her head. She did see a person and a plane, both of which fell into the sea, but she didn't see the rest. "Your name?" Hippolyta looked at Duke again. "Duke? Who on earth are you, and why did you betray your own people?" Hippolyta nodded, no longer looking at Duke, but staring coldly at Steve, the same name of the US team. "As for Duke's origin, you can ask about it later. What matters now is the soldier in front of you." Although the beach defense battle killed the intruders, the warships behind had already evacuated that. In other words, the enemy is likely to attack again, although after leaving, it is difficult to find the exact position of Paradise Island, but if you are not afraid of you are afraid of it. Duke smiled inwardly. He was treated courteously after saving Antiope, and the reputation of Paradise Island was upgraded from cold to neutral. It's just these female warriors who hide from the world and have high vigilance. Others would have been friendly or respectful. Well, female heroes are friendly. As for Steve Trevor, it was downgraded from cold to hostile, as he was clearly responsible for the invasion. "I'm not with them," Steve replied quickly while stepping back and guarding. He felt rather unlucky. Flying, those who survived the catastrophe were not bombarded by the enemy's cannons, but were smashed down by a man who fell from the sky. Descended from the sky. Still personal. The 3 views have been refreshed, okay? It was already unlucky enough, but when I met this group of strong female warriors again, it was going to be over. Then why are you wearing their clothes? I can't tell you guys. Say it. What's your name? I can't tell you that either. Kill him now to prevent future troubles. Diana, who was translating for Duke, suddenly became anxious. No matter what, this person worked together to defeat the invaders. She was about to say something, but someone objected. If he's dead, we have no way of knowing who they are and why they came. Duke only understood the word name, and the rest was still ambiguous. Forgive a person who has never passed the second level, but he remembers this plot. That is, Steve couldn't tell you all kinds of things, and was finally taken to the meeting hall to play with a lasso. The one who threatened to kill Steve is the legendary Victoria's Secret supermodel, right? Vanilla. Duke turned his head to look, but he couldn't tell that this was Doubtson Carlos. That I really didn't see it when I watched it the first time, but later I heard that this person was picked up. Duke went to see it again, but he still didn't recognize it. Also, with the same dress and makeup, it is impossible to tell that this is a Victoria's Secret supermodel. But her figure is really good. After all, it is said that Victoria's Secret is the second most profitable. As for the name, Vanilla, how does Pete translate? Duke used Dunyang's translation at that time, and the result he got was Venice. People's Venice is obviously Venice. Just as he was in a daze, he noticed a howl next to him, and turned his head to see that this guy with the same name as Captain America was still detained. It's so sad. Diana, stay and take care of Antiope. Hippolyta ordered, and then saluted Duke. Please, sir, take care of her here, and I will arrange a place for him later. Before Duke could answer, the heroine shouted, No, mother, I want to go too. Then, how about I go and see? To be honest, I also want to know what he did. After all, I crashed into someone else's plane. Duke knew that the heroine was worried, and his mother executed her behind her back. Truth be told, I don't know much about medicine. The surgery has been set up, you just need to sew up the wound in time, and stop for a while after the wound is bandaged. You can move out in 2 days. As long as her life crisis is lifted, the surgery will no longer overdraw her vitality, but help to heal the wound faster. Hippolyta hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Forget it, sir, come along. Thanks. Diana nodded to Duke, who smiled without saying anything. Sure enough, it was still the slightly familiar picture, which looked like the Senate of the ancient Greek city-state parliamentary system. The female Amazon warriors surrounded Steve, who was entangled in ropes emitting warm yellow light. Duke's eyes sparkled, and he was quite curious. This thing should be a mantra lasso. I'm Captain Steve Trevor, pilot, American Expeditionary Force, serial number 814-1921, and that's all I want to say. Steve said with a bewildered face, What the heck, why would I take the initiative to say it? What the hell is this? Duke is not interested in this, it's just some explanation anyway. He is more interested in the lasso of mantra. This episode was very boring. Taking this opportunity, Duke chatted with the system. You mean, you will get talent points after killing an enemy, and the talent points will vary with the strength of the enemy, and the talent points can be exchanged for different talents in the system, as well as skills and props. In addition, when touching targets above elite, you can also randomly get talent points, less than killing, and at the same time, there is a low probability of obtaining one of the opponent's talents. Killing targets above elite, there is a low probability get the opponent's multiple talents. This is the basic ability of the strongest talent system. Yes, the host, but what can be exchanged can only be the talents, skills, and props of the magic department. There is no such restriction on the talents obtained from outside. Understood. The ones that can be exchanged can only be exchanged for the magic system, while the external ones are random, and there may be warrior talents. Take him down first. A light drink woke up Duke, and when he saw that he was about to put away the mantra lasso, he became anxious. Autumn bean sack, it's not, wait, can this thing make people tell the truth? Can I try it? Diana was a little confused. Hippolyta was even more confused. Is there anyone else who wants to try it? From just now, she thought about testing Duke's details, but after all, the other party was a benefactor, so it was inconvenient to use this method. But if the other party asks for it, then there is no problem. Seeing Hippolyta nodded, Duke quickly reached out and grabbed it, wrapping it around his wrist. Well, I don't feel anything. Host, I feel that there is an absolute will coming. Do you want to turn on the signal shielding? No, let me play first. Duke coughed softly, and said slowly, I'm a handsome guy. I'm down. The female soldiers rolled their eyes in unison. They understand Chinese, so they naturally know what it means. How can someone say that he is a handsome guy? Wait. He holds a lasso of truth in his hand, that is to say, is this sentence true? How narcissistic that must be. This thing is like a lie detector. For example, when the host asked Xiao Yeye in Extreme Challenge, who is more handsome, you or Wu Yanzu, Xiao Yeye said he was more handsome, and then the lie detector responded like the truth. Same goes for lasso of mantra. However, the flip came. Light smoke rose from his hand, although it was very faint. Duke's expression changed instantly, and he jumped up. Damn, it's so hot, hiss. The female soldiers breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. Am I not handsome? Duke refused. I'm ugly. It's all right now. Injuried. Self-esteem is hurt. The atmosphere suddenly became a little subtle. Duke had a black line on his forehead, and felt that a crow flew over his head at this moment, leaving a few big black spots. Fool. Quack. Duke was so angry that he threw the lasso of mantra on the ground, pointed at it and cursed, "Presumptuous. You are just a small rope, how dare you question how handsome you are." At this time, Hippolyta, who was originally calm, couldn't control it, and felt that her laughing muscles were about to collapse. "No, keep your grace. I am the queen." End of this chapter. Chapter 6 Fallen Angel. Just when Hippolyta was about to lose her composure, a doubt crossed her mind, causing her to cool down quickly. Wrong. That's not how the lasso of mantra works. It can make people tell the truth instead of sanctioning and punishing you for telling lies. When the lasso of truth catches you, you can only tell the truth involuntarily, and you cannot tell lies. That it will only punish you when you resist and make you feel a burning sensation. The more you struggle and resist, the more painful it will be. But it doesn't burn you when you tell a lie, it keeps you from telling a lie. This is the lasso of mantra malfunctioning? Unlikely, right? Duke is still playing there, seemingly never tired of it. My name is Duke. Hey, it's okay. I'm 20 years old this year. Sigh. Damn it, it's so hot. It's smoking again. Although it was said to be smoking, Duke's hand was not actually burned. It felt more like the rope itself was smoking after it was heated to a certain extent. Where is this false? I said rope, you are a bit unreliable. The female warrior in charge of holding the mantra lasso rolled her eyes in various ways. It's been a long time since I saw such a strange person. After finishing speaking, Duke seemed to sense the problem, and asked in a low voice, minus 80 years old. Damn it. This will make the rope unresponsive. The black line on Duke's forehead, the rope of emotion, is also a man of science. Unexpectedly, it really counted like that. It is now 1918, and counting from the year he was born, it is 80 years. Now it's the turn of the Amazon female warriors to be confused. What does it mean to be 80 years old? Hippolyta frowned. Did something really go wrong? Stop playing, it's boring. Hippolyta twitched in her heart. Takes her down to rest first. Yes, her lady queen. Oh, it's her, Victoria's Secret supermodel Doubtson Carlos. Sir, please come with me. Duke glanced at Diana and nodded, then followed, from the back. This guy's legs are really long. Beauty, haven't you asked Fong's name yet? Vanelia. That name is too mouthful. Shall I call you Doubtson Carlos? Duke scrambled forward. Why are you shouting like that? She felt very strange. It's strange, I feel like we've known each other for a long time. That's what I called you in my dream. Duke said shamelessly. Are you trying to fuck me? Ahem, this is really not there. Duke blushed, he really hadn't thought about this. The combination of time travel, system, protagonist's halo, and suddenly becoming an old bull beat made him feel a bit carried away, but he is still a young boy. After being teased a little by the female warrior, she lost her true face in an instant. Of course, the main thing was that he started to wake up. This is always the daughter's island. Paradise Island, living in a world a century ago. This made him confused again. Although there is a Victoria's Secret supermodel with the same face, but he really lost his previous excitement. Suddenly the atmosphere became quiet. Although she didn't know what happened, the female soldier could still see the sadness in Duke's eyes. Whatever you want, the name is just a code name for us. Oh. Duke was also a little stunned. He didn't know much about DC, he only knew that the place seemed to be made of clay by the gods. Hippolyta once lied to Diana, saying that she was made out of clay, and later learned the truth from the mouth of Ares, the god of war, born of Zeus and Hippolyta. If so, didn't Zeus land on a piece of soil? Oh. Forget it, Zeus was originally Dumas. But Paradise Island has only women and no men, that is to say, there is no father, so their name is really a code name. Even on Paradise Island, women don't even have family names or surnames. This is your room, just use that link if you need anything. Oh, good. Duke found that the thing looked like a snail, used for sound transmission. On the other hand, after Duke left, there was a stir among the women. Shall we let him go, soldier? So that he can bring more people here? Hippolyta asked back. We cannot detain him forever, Her Majesty the Queen. Mother, please listen to me. The man said so much, it must have been done by Ares. Diana chased out, ready to fight. What are you talking about, Diana? Sorry, Senator, but the man said it was an endless war. Millions of people have died. He has never seen such horrors. Only Ares can do this kind of thing. Pause after a pause, Diana continued, we can't just let him go, we have to follow him. Hippolyta directly refused, I will not send our people to fight their wars, leaving Paradise Island unattended. This is not their war. The humans created by Zeus are righteous, wise, strong, and full of passion. That's just a story, Diana. There's a lot you don't understand. Humans fall so easily. That's right. But all of that was done by Ares. It was the Germans who were instigated by Ares to start the war. It is our mission to stop the god of war. As Amazons, this is our duty. Diana said. She seemed to be just, strong, and passionate. But you're not like us Amazons, so you don't have to do anything. As queen, I won't allow it. Hippolyta ordered seriously, if you want to help, you'd better find out that Duke's identity. Duke? Diana froze for a moment, this man was indeed very mysterious. I suspect he is a fallen angel. The queen's words completely frightened everyone. What? Fallen angel? How is it possible? How did the fallen angel come to us? Angels are not exclusive to God. The word angel comes from the Greek word angelos, which means messenger. In almost all of the theology, angels often play the role of messengers, attendants, agents of God, and so on. There are also messenger under Zeus. Fallen angel, how is this possible, Diana couldn't believe it. Of course she knows about fallen angels, well, from the storybook. Hippolyta took out the lasso of truth, the answer lies in it, that Duke, he can resist the power of the lasso of truth. What? Is that impossible? The mantra lasso was made by Hephaestus, the god of fire, with the golden belt of Gaia, the mother goddess, and tied to the arrow by Artemis, the goddess of hunting. It was shot down from the sacred mountain of Olympus. If he could really resist, wouldn't it mean? The senator said, his face becoming terrified. Hippolyta's expression was also very solemn, if he is really a fallen angel, then before he fell. End of this chapter. Chapter 7 There is only one way. Only God can resist the will of God, and there is nothing wrong with that. Hippolyta tried it just now, and she couldn't tell a lie, but the mysterious Duke could, which made her doubtful. Are you sending your daughter? Of course not. She keenly felt that only Diana in the entire Paradise Island could defeat Duke. If he was really a fallen angel and really hostile, even if she is fully armed, she is not sure whether she can defeat it, which is split. That's why the task was assigned to Diana. If she tried it herself, Duke would probably be alerted, but Diana wouldn't, because even a god couldn't resist Diana's beauty. You must know that her beauty, which even the gods praised, was bestowed by the goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite. Thanks to Zeus burping, otherwise Diana would not have been let go. He is Dumas. Where is Duke now? He was researching dark text, and he found that there was no upper limit to the development of dark text, and the effects of different text arrangements were completely different. Like darkness and darkness. Diablo, forbidden magic, making one's body into a demon-like form with entities. The darkness, on the other hand, becomes an existence like a shadow, nothingness, no entity, and it feels a bit like a dark fruit that can be turned into elements. In addition, because of the dark text, he cannot write light, for example, writing light on his body will not turn him into an angel. In short, dark ones are acceptable, and there are also neutral texts that do not have a clear distinction between dark and light. For example, flames. In addition, the spell formula is actually written in dark characters, and different arrangements will achieve different effects, and it's not just used for trap preparation before the battle. As long as your speed is fast enough, you can write and use it in battle to limit the enemy's ability. But this requires a fairly fast writing speed. Generally speaking, it is best used for traps. After studying for a while, Duke collapsed on the bed, a hard bed. It's been a long time since I've felt this way. Looking at the decoration of the room, this should be a female warrior's room, Could it be Doubts and Carlos's? Because Paradise Island is closed, it is impossible to have foreign tourists at all, and naturally there will be no such thing as a guest room. The year 1918. He began to plan a way out for himself. Obviously, as a man, he couldn't stay on Paradise Island full of female warriors, the Amazons would certainly not agree, and the Queen of the Amazons would certainly not. Besides, why is he staying on this closed island, eating and waiting to die? Sit and watch the sunrise and sunset, and then die of old age. It's hard to travel through, so you have to struggle, right? Although there is no goal for what to fight for, how to fight, but at least you have to see the Earth 100 years ago, right? Do you really want to go to the battlefield with the heroine? There is no doubt that the female hero will not stop her steps on the battlefield because of his arrival. The US team's namesake Steve is a key figure and cannot be avoided. With a righteous heart, she is not allowed to be an ostrich. After much deliberation, it seemed that he could only follow the woman. This was the only way. Because he doesn't understand English, only Diana can talk to him. The Amazons would not allow him to live on Paradise Island, and he himself did not want to eat and die, so he had to go out, for now, except that Diana could talk to him. He was deaf. Even if he has the ability to extort a lot of money, how can he get to China? If you don't know English, you may not even be able to find a translator, let alone find an ocean-going ship to Xiangdao. You can't understand English. Moreover, it is now during World War I, and it is not certain whether there are ships going to Xiangdao, even though Xiangdao has become a British colony at this time. Therefore, the only option is to follow the heroine. And the heroine is about to embark on the battlefield of World War I. If he doesn't follow, wouldn't it be the same as not following? It's a fight. It's not a movie where the bullets only hit the shield and don't hit the legs. However, if he doesn't follow the heroine, he will become deaf again. Tangled. Just then, the conch on the table rang. Is it Duke, sir? Duke didn't realize it at first, but after looking around, he realized that the screw was ringing, and this thing is really a telephone. You are, Miss Diana. I'm going out. Okay, I'll come as soon as I clean up. An obvious boulder. Okay, I see. The heroine asked him out, even though he knew it wasn't a date, but he was a little excited because he was still in the mentality of a university monk. After all, he just gained strength and became the protagonist's life, so he hasn't left the humble mentality of a small person for the time being. This is a real goddess, not the goddess in the movie. After going out, he wrote wings directly on his body, and once again transformed into a dark angel with wings and soared into the sky. First confirm the next direction. The boulder is very obvious, and you can see it all at once. The wings fluttered, and the person flew past like a meteor. Hello, Miss Diana. He landed slowly, folded his wings, and tried his best to maintain a gentleman's demeanor, although he didn't quite understand what it meant to be a truly elegant gentleman. Hello, Mr. Duke. The heroine nodded, then smiled. Just call me Diana. Then you can call me Duke too. Diana smiled and did not answer, but walked towards the open space. Although Duke didn't know what to ask him out for, he still followed. Have you met that Steve? No, why do you ask this? Diana felt puzzled. Oh, nothing, just interested in his identity as a spy. Duke heaved a sigh of relief. It's fine if he doesn't. He doesn't want to see the thing with the same name as Steve from the American team as soon as the heroine enters the cave, and I'm above average. Well, in fact, Duke is inferior. Orientals are generally shorter than Europeans and Americans. Of course Duke knows his capital, although he is not weak, but compared with others in Europe and the United States, it is far behind. This is the blot on the heroine's life. For the US team's namesake Steve, Duke's dislike of him is based on this. After being seen, Golowski squatted back into the water without hesitation, or put on his clothes quickly, and stood there in a daze to show off his capital. I'm very interested in your abilities. Who are you, and what does the phrase, -80 years old, mean? Diana raised her eyebrows and asked curiously. If the Amazon Queen Hippolyta asked this question, Duke would immediately become wary, but the person in front of him was Wonder Woman Diana Prince. It's not because Duke likes her, but because he knows very well that Diana at this stage is a pure blank slate. As the Queen said, there are many things you don't understand. He is a person who has no intentions. A kind of magic. Magic. End of this chapter. Chapter 8 Knocked Away by a Heroine. You ask me what magic is, this. Duke scratched his head. He didn't know what magic was, so he had to make it up according to what he saw in the anime. Magic, the mysterious power in the legend. Actually, I don't quite understand it, I just came into contact with it. It says, there is some kind of power in everything around us, and magicians can extract their power to achieve attack, healing, defense or other effects. Like this. As he spoke, Duke stretched out his palm, and a fiery red dark text spun in the palm of his hand, and the next second, surging flames gushed out from his palm, like a fire dragon. The place that was attacked instantly turned into scorched black. In fact, dark characters can be written with thoughts, as can spells, which are composed of dark characters that it just needs to be manifested by writing. You can manifest it while writing, or you can condense it first, and then manifest it in an instant. It's just that the complex ones are difficult to use by relying on ideas, and the simple ones can be done after you are familiar with them. Diana's eyes were shining, and she was watching with great interest. This is a kind of magic. The atmosphere contains violent fire factors, and magicians can extract these factors and gather them into flames to strengthen attacks. Duke explained, of course, there are such things. Then he wrote on his chest, absolute defense. Rocks, soil, and metals contain the power of the earth, that is, the earth element, which can be used to strengthen defense after extraction. You can try it with a punch. Duke added, remember to control it well. Strength. The system has said that Diana now has the mid-level strength of the legendary level, but she has not fully utilized it, because the female warriors in Paradise Island are very weak. She didn't try her best, but suppressed her strength at the peak of the hero level. Armed with artifacts, she can reach the legendary late stage. At the end of the battle against Ares, the god of war, she awakened and reached the legendary peak. With the power of thunder and lightning, she rushed into the demigod realm for a short time, so that she could kill Ares, who is also a demigod. But after beheading, he instantly fell back to the legendary peak state. And Duke's current strength is also at the peak of a hero, so Diana will not hurt him. Strength level, Cannon Fodder Mortal Elite Hero Legend Demigod Main God. Cannon Fodder is a person with a few heirs. Ordinary people are at the level of secret agents. Elite, US Team, Black Widow and other levels. Heroes, Wolverine, Saber-Toothed Tiger and the like. Legendary, Wonder Woman, Magneto, Professor X, etc. Demigods, Superman, Ancient One, Odin and others. The main god can't write yet. Are you serious? Diana smiled suddenly. Of course, come on. Duke also wanted to test his level of strength. In the end, the heroine rushed over with a fist, and he was blown away magnificently, flying far, far, far. I rely on. Duke, who was circling in mid-air, was a little confused and dizzy. Of course he was not injured, but the absolute defense was still broken. This proves that the heroine has used the power of the hero's peak level and smashed it with one blow. It's just like Superman, with super strength, super speed, super reaction, and super defense. The only difference is that Diana doesn't have Superman's Kryptonian dead light. After flying out for 100 meters, Duke finally came to his senses. The Black Archangel spread its wings again and flew back, although the appearance of landing is very chic and handsome, but the hair betrays him. It was blown into a mess by the wind, and it was almost lost from the chicken coop. The heroine smiled. Although his expression was steady, he was very surprised in his heart. She is very clear about her own strength, and there is absolutely no one in Paradise Island who can withstand her fist. He is a terrifying existence that blows up tanks. If this punch hits someone, it will definitely not fly, because it will punch you through. But Duke was just sent flying, and flew back unscathed, muttering, "Is this the power of magic? So you're a magician, not a fallen angel?" It is said that Diana is very simple now. Fallen angel? Duke was stunned for a moment, and then he seemed to understand something. Feelings are caused by wings. I'm sorry, but my magic is called dark text, so the wings are black. Actually, I also want to make it white and become an angel, but unfortunately. As he spoke, Duke shrugged, expressing his helplessness. The power of darkness? Diana frowned. Oops. Amazons are born to stand against evil, shouldn't they? There is no absolute evil, and dark forces can also do good deeds. Diana, there has never been evil forces in this world, only evil people. Duke said. No. The humans created by Zeus are just, passionate. Duke waved his hand. Diana, your mother is right, human beings are easy to degenerate. Because they are a collection of good and evil, they are easily seduced by the evil temptation of the outside world, and thus degenerate into bad people. It's easy to fall down, but it's hard to climb out again. Feel the dark text, and you'll understand. Evil and justice, dark and light. Although his magic is said to be based on the dark text, there is actually no difference between evil and justice. Of course, the power of evil has never existed in this world. This sentence was made by Duke to fool Diana. There really is a power of evil in this world, the kind of evil that can't be influenced even by Wu Tao's Dharma. Wings was silently written on Diana's body. Attention, when I cast it for the first time, I felt that the blood in my entire back was about to boil, maybe. Swish, the wings of the Archangel of Darkness grew. How does it feel? Duke asked. It's okay, I didn't feel the blood boiling. Diana's wings shook and she flew into the air. Duke was stunned for a moment. Could this be the reason for the blood of God? After all, he has the blood of Zeus. From the purely DNA level, he is indeed far behind Diana. It is NNNNNN multicut. He himself spread his wings and chased after him. In fact, Diana can fly. The god Hermes gave Diana super speed and flying ability, but she never flew the kind of big jump that only played Dr. Banner. How about it, now it proves that I'm not a fallen angel? Duke asked with a smile after catching up. I never doubted it from the beginning. Diana shook her head. She had never seen a fallen angel, but instinctively she didn't think Duke was a fallen angel. Oh. Duke also smiled. Compare who is faster? Diana asked. She suddenly felt a sense of relief, the feeling of breaking free from bondage, enslavement, and restraint, and freely controlling her own life. Okay. The two speeded up one by one, and galloped around Paradise Island. One ran and the other chased, sometimes leading and sometimes falling behind, never tired of it. Duke suddenly wanted to recite a poem by Lao Bai. In the sky, I wish to be a lovebird, and in the ground, I wish to be Lien Lizzie. The female Amazon warriors downstairs raised their heads and beeped in bewilderment. I guess, what is that? Queen Hippolyta frowned even more tightly. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. A whole 100 years. Finally got rid of the setting of Fallen Angel. In a certain cave, Steve Trevor is happily playing with water in his bath. The water here is light blue, and it is very strange that it is shining brightly. There are some strange places, the water is still flowing upwards. Just getting up from the bath, a figure came in from the hole in the corner, which startled him, and he immediately wanted to squat down. I rely. When Duke came in, he was stunned by this scene. Damn, actually standing still. Show off with brother, right? Duke walked in with a dark face, made a gesture of lifting his pants, and then pointed to the whole .no trick. He can't speak English. I was worried that the heroine would barge in recklessly and see something she shouldn't have seen, never thought that this stain was printed on him. Steve knew that the man named Duke in front of him didn't understand English, and he didn't understand Chinese, but he still understood it from the gestures. Hastily came out from the bath, put on the apron. Duke immediately shouted out, "You can come in." Diana enters. On the way here, Duke instilled in her some traditional ideas that men and women are different, Chinese style. For example, women can't take men to watch football casually, can't kiss with men casually, can't cuddle casually, and so on. Although Diana was a European, she was a blank slate. She didn't understand the relationship between men and women, and it was the first time she saw a creature like a man. Oh, forgot to mention, the first man she met was Duke, not Steve. Because the place where Duke fell was closer to the coast, Diana swam to him first and then rescued Steve, so he was the first man the heroine saw. Duke didn't like Steve. He clearly knew that Diana was a piece of paper, didn't understand anything, and was curious about everything in the outside world. After all, to her, those are all new. Want to try everything. It is also under the influence of freshness and curiosity that Steve. Really cruel. Can I ask you a few questions? Steve said. The heroine nodded. This is where? Paradise Island. You said it. I want to ask, where is this? What is this place? Who are you? Why is the water like this? Why do you speak English so well? Duke remembered this episode. Although he didn't understand some English vocabulary, the two of them still knew it. This is heaven. What? Steve frowned. Heh. The heroine smiled. Of course she knew what heaven meant. We are a bridge to promote the peaceful coexistence of mankind. Okay. Although he was still a little confused and didn't get the answer he wanted, Steve nodded. Thank you for saving me from the water. That, you came to let me go what? I tried, but I didn't count. I even asked them to send me with you, or anyone from the Amazon, but my mother wouldn't allow it. Actually, I can't blame her. I don't want people I care about to get close to the battlefield. Then why do you want to go back? Nobody want to go back to the battlefield, right? But, you gotta try. My dad used to tell me, if you find out that something is wrong in this world, you either stand by or do something about it, and I've been stand by and watch. The heroine was silent, turned and left, and Duke followed slowly. Hey! Thank you for crashing my plane and letting me see a different world. Steve yelled at Duke when he was about to walk out of the cave. After the heroine finished translating, Duke replied in a funny way, I hope it wasn't my ass that hit your propeller. Hee hee. The heroine couldn't help but shook her head with a smile, and didn't give an interpreter, leaving Steve with a beeping face and left. Steve, confused face. After leaving the cave, the two did not go back to rest. So you've decided to go to war anyway? Duke asked. Diana didn't answer, but said lightly, it is the responsibility of the Amazons to protect the peace of the world. So, you're going to get your gear now? How do you know? Diana wondered. Your eyes are full of determination. Duke stretched out his V-shaped finger, pointing to the beautiful eyes of the heroine. Aren't you going? Go, where? The temple, you mean the battlefield? Duke sat on the rock with a smile, patted the side, and motioned for the woman to sit down. It wasn't until Diana sat next to him that she spoke again. You know, I'm not from this world. Then there was a pause. Duke was waiting for the heroine's reaction. You must know that the phrase, -80 years old, is definitely a trap. Even if the heroine doesn't ask now, she will ask in the future when she remembers that it's like a thorn, a small stone, which is very uncomfortable if it is pinned to the heart. So Duke decided to take the initiative to say it, of course, with embellishment. However, what puzzled him was that there was no shocked expression on the woman's face. Aren't you surprised? Why should you be surprised? This world is just a point of intersection in the multiverse. Because of the ancient agreement, the god Odin of the Asur Protoss left the earth to create Asgard, ruling the 9 major worlds today. Kingdom. Diana said as a matter of course. She felt a little regretful in her heart. If the Olympus Protoss had also left, wouldn't they have fallen like they are now? But alas, time does not go backwards. Duke scratched his head, feeling like this, yes, gods come from various planets, it's really not surprising to him. My world is very peaceful, but I have also experienced World War I and World War II, but there are no such and such Protoss. Oh, maybe there are, but I don't know. After all, I am just an ordinary person in that world, and I am more powerful than that spy. Be ordinary. When I saw the spy's clothes, I knew it was World War I, and it was 100 years away from my world. So Diana understood, you are 20 years old, so you say you are, -80 years old. Ah. Then how did you get here? She was curious about this. If you ask me, I don't know. In my world, I'm just an ordinary college monk who hasn't graduated yet. I accidentally dug up a copy of F.A.T.ian Notes in the ancestral house, and then I became interested, according to the gourd painting, who would have thought that, came here. Having said that, Duke waved his hand. Don't ask, I really don't know. 1 second I was still practicing, and the next second I was, lying behind that boulder on the beach. Diana. To tell you the truth, that was my first time fighting, and it was also my first time killing people. End of this chapter. Chapter 10 Ant Transfer. Me too. Diana nodded. Oh, it seems we have something in common. Duke smiled. Then, Duke didn't know what to say, and the atmosphere was a little stiff. After all, he hadn't been in love a few times in his previous life, so he didn't know girls very well. Although the heroine is old enough to be his ancestor, she is still a girl. I'm going to the temple. How about you, are you going? As soon as she said that, Diana shook her head with a smile. This is the duty of us Amazons. What about you, where do you plan to go after you leave? In these words, it is already revealing that Paradise Island does not welcome men to live, meaning. Duke scratched his head, this is a strange era for me. It's the same for me. Diana turned her head and looked into the distance. She had never left Paradise Island. Oh. It seems we have something in common again. The heroine smiled, but said nothing. Since we are so destined, and I don't have any plans for the time being, I will accompany you for a while, and protect you by the way. Duke stood up and stretched his limbs. You, protect me? Diana showed a charming smile as if she had heard a joke. I don't know who it was just now, but I punched it away. Ahem, that's not what I mean. Duke said in embarrassment, there are sinister people outside. You have never been out, and you may be deceived. And the spy, I admit that he is on the side of justice, but, he has something to hide from us. Steve. Why? Diana frowned, she felt that the spy was a good guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I've seen all kinds of people in my world, and I can tell if he's telling the truth and how much he's telling the truth just by looking at his eyes. Although I don't know English, people's the eyes are the same. Duke pointed to his eyes. Although he has the idea of alienating the relationship between the two, his words are not all alienation. This is indeed a special ability of his. Seeing people is almost the same, and you can know the character and behavior of a person just by looking at him. And at the beginning Steve was indeed cheating, he just wanted to borrow the heroine to leave Paradise Island to hand over the notes. What god of war Ares? Are you kidding me? He didn't think that the rambunctious Ares really existed, and even if it existed, he didn't think that the war would end if he killed Ares. It is also the heroes saddened by beauty pass, which accompanied him on the battlefield. Diana frowned, she didn't believe Duke, or she believed in her own judgment more. Forget it, whether he is good or bad has nothing to do with me. Duke felt bad, he hadn't done anything like it. Saying bad about another man in front of a woman seems like a bad thing, right? Quickly changed the subject. By the way, you just left, don't you need to visit your aunt? Just to remind you, I am the man who saved your aunt, and that spy is the one who killed your aunt, so we should be closer. Diana froze for a moment and shook her head, then looked at Duke expectantly. She'll be fine, right? And, I'll go see her. As he said, Duke spread the wings of the dark angel again. By the way, where do we meet? Southeast, there is a small boat. Understood. Duke said, and then flew into the sky. Diana watched him leave, then turned to look at the location of the temple, and ran. After a few big jumps and a few ups and downs, he climbed into the temple with his bare hands. Ding! Get Mantra Lasso ×1. Get God Slayer ×1. Get Divine Shield ×1. Get God's Cloak ×1. Inside the cave, Steve was figuring out how to escape. That it's a pity that there is no map, but the compass fails, and he is so angry that he throws it aside. That I don't know if it was caused by the special environment of Paradise Island, or it was destroyed after the crash, but it didn't turn anymore. When Diana appeared, he was taken aback, thinking that the Amazon female warrior was coming, and his escape plan was discovered. That pounding of the heart. It's a nice outfit. Thank you. I can tell you how to leave the island, and you are going to take me to Ares. Ares? There's nothing wrong with this woman, she looks pretty by herself. However, this is an opportunity. Okay, it's settled. At the other end, Duke galloped over and slowly landed on the beach, which startled the female Amazon warriors who were still staying on the beach. After seeing clearly, they all nodded respectfully. Mr. Duke. Well, hello. They are all beauties. The black one doesn't count. Duke smiled. How is she? The log cabin built is very simple, just a square box, only the top boards are tightly assembled, and there are large gaps around them. The top is to keep out the rain, and the sides are to make it easy for the wind to blow her. Doctors have already treated the wound. To Duke's surprise, even if this kind of piercing heart injury was healed, he would still be in a coma for 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 days, even if the Amazons are physically strong, but, waking up in less than half a day, they are really too strong. But think about it, how is Antiope the sister of Queen Amazon, the most powerful warrior on Paradise Island except for the heroine? She was already sober and was staring at Duke. She still had a slight impression of Duke, the way his wings soared to the sky. Listen to them, you saved me, cough cough, saved me. Thanks, cough, if it wasn't for you, Duke hurried forward, okay, you are the injured, you'd better rest more, let me see your injury. Although it hits the heart, there is nothing embarrassing about it. What's more, the bandages were tightly wrapped, and nothing could be seen at all. I sensed it through the magic flow. Well, the situation is better than I expected, and I can leave probably tomorrow morning. Thanks. You're welcome. Where's Diana? Is she leaving? You don't have to hide it from me, I understand her temperament. I've heard about it, my sister, give this to her for me. As he said, Antiope slowly took off the starlight fly. The crown was handed over to Duke, and he patted his palm lightly, take care of Diana for me. Duke was stunned, but still nodded, I will. Is this an aunt sending a niece? However, the starlight crown still fell into the hands of the heroine. The original plot was that Antiope died, and Hippolyta handed it to the heroine, but now it is his transfer. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, no one will hurt her. A man. Thank you. Ho ho ho. Although the heart was sutured, Antiope still gasped heavily after saying this. She needs to rest. End of this chapter. Chapter 11. Thought it was brother and sister. When Duke flew to the boat, Diana was already waiting there. What surprised him was that, besides Steve, who was pulling the cable, there was also a familiar figure, Doubtson Carlos. Why is she here? Want to go too? But there was no time to think about it. Diana walked over, and before she could speak, Duke comforted, the recovery effect is much faster than I thought. She has woken up, and according to my judgment, she can leave the surgery tomorrow. The formula range rested. Great. By the way, she asked me to give it to you. Starlight flying crown. Diana held it tightly. It was a symbol of the strongest warrior. She could feel Antiope's expectations for her on it. Let's go. As soon as he turned around, there was a rush of horseshoes behind him, bang 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 bang. Duke shrugged, it seems that I can't go yet. Looking at the Amazon queen who was chasing after her, Diana gritted her teeth and stepped forward to face her. I have to go, mother. Innocent people are dying, and I can't sit idly by. If no one in the world resists Ares, then I must go. Duke was watching from the side, looking at the stubborn little face of the heroine. The heroine at the moment is still very simple, stubborn, and persistent. I know, at least I know I can't stop you. The queen slowly jumped off the horse and walked towards Diana, her eyes full of nostalgia. There are so many things you don't understand. I know enough, I'm willing to fight for those who can't protect themselves, just like you once did. Duke complained in his heart, you really don't understand a lot, female hero, and you will be at a disadvantage if you don't listen to the old man's words. You know, if you choose to leave, you may not be able to come back. The daughter was about to fall out of her sight like a kite with a broken string, which made the queen very heartbroken, with tears in her eyes. Now, of course, there are concerns about Duke. There was only one spy in the original plot, which was nothing, but now. What's the use of my staying? Be careful in the world of men, Diana, they are not worth your saving. You are my love, and today, you are my greatest sorrow. The mother and daughter said a simple farewell, and the heroine turned around, striding away, heading towards the human world. Goodbye, ma'am. Don't worry, I will take good care of her. Duke made a gentleman's salute. Of course, he was a self-righteous gentleman with a carefree look. The queen just nodded, looked at him calmly, and did not speak. After all, in her opinion, her daughter's departure was not because of this unknown person in front of her, but the sacrifice of tens of millions of lives outside. This person is just an accident, with him or without him, the daughter will leave. Furthermore, after all, he was the one who saved his sister. A little embarrassed to be seen, Duke smiled awkwardly, "Goodbye." "Turn away." Just then, the Queen asked loudly, "Who are you?" Duke turned his back to her and waved goodbye. "A homeless person." "Are you homeless?" "The cool breeze blows day and night, floating my boat lightly." Under the moonlight seeing off, the boat gradually sailed away from Paradise Island. Diana looked at the hometown, where she had lived for an unknown number of years, until her mother's figure became smaller and smaller, and finally drove out of the barrier, completely invisible under the cover of fog. Cleaning up her slightly depressed mood, the woman turned around and saw Duke was chatting with Vanilla. "Carlos, why are you here?" "I think you are quite interesting, going out might be a kind of exercise." Doubtson Carlos said. "She will not be called Vanilla from now on." Duke is so depressed. Is it possible that the Victoria's Secret supermodel in front of him is about to die on the battlefield? She doesn't have the powerful combat power of a heroine, and the system told him that this supermodel is only at an elite level, that is, the level of the Black Widow. Even if the future Widow appears on the battlefield of World War I, she will be killed suddenly if she is not careful. And she doesn't have the magical equipment of a heroine, so she's just trying to die. "Carlos?" "Vanilla, when did you change your name?" Diana was curious. "He changed it for me, Doubtson Carlos. I suspect that he has bad thoughts about me." After she finished speaking, she laughed to herself. One Duke, one Duchenne, those who didn't know thought they were brother and sister. Diana shook her head boredly, then turned to look at Steve. "How long before we arrive at the battlefield?" "Which one is the battlefield?" Steve was still tying the cables to reinforce this small sailboat that looked like it would collapse at any moment. "The battlefield on the Western Front in France is more than 400 miles long from the Alps to the North Sea." "Then go to the most intense battlefield." The female hero was full of fighting spirit. The two began to communicate in English, and the sad Duke could only rely on Doubtson Carlos as an interpreter. "It's very strange to say. The system clearly stated that when touching a target above elite, there is a low probability of obtaining one of the opponent's talents. He has met the heroine many times, but it is a pity that P's talent has not been touched. Well, according to the system, when contacting someone with a higher level than him, the chance of acquiring talent is almost infinitely equal to 0, but Doubtson Carlos is only at the elite level. Let alone her. When he was on the island, he shook hands with the female warriors one by one, but he didn't find a single talent. Language talent is also a talent, right? Amazonians are born with hundreds of languages, which is the most common and popular talent, and it can fail. Alas, the probability is really low enough. Take me there, I'm sure I can find Ares. Steve stopped what he was doing, turned around and looked at Diana. This pretty girl, isn't she really mentally ill? Not right either. A secluded island full of mighty warriors in ancient costumes, and that mysterious man, who conjures wings and smashes his plane. All this is refreshing his cognition, and his worldview has not collapsed, thanks to the high-intensity pressure training over the years. God of War Ares. It is our duty to find him. Only the Amazons can defeat him with this sword. Once I defeat him, the war will be over," said the woman. At the moment she is still a naive girl. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this war is a mess, and there is nothing you and I can do. We can go back to London first, and then find someone who can change the situation." Although his worldview has been refreshed, Steve still doesn't think that war is caused by God of War. In other words, he didn't think killing Ares would end the war. War is caused by human greed, not by some so-called God of War. Duke cut in at the right time. "Well, I told you that he won't take you to the battlefield. His purpose is to get out of here, and then hand that notebook back." After speaking, he smiled. He didn't want the heroine to have any favor towards Steve. End of this chapter. Chapter 12 Captain Duke Sparrow. Hearing this, Diana frowned and looked at Steve unkindly. She is not a 24K pure idiot. Thinking about it carefully, there is indeed a sense of rejection in the previous words. What's wrong? Steve took a step back. Although he couldn't understand Chinese, he instinctively knew that Duke had said something bad about him. Duke Carlos also stood up, held a sword, and stared at him unkindly. The situation is not good. But he didn't know what to say, because he didn't understand the language. Duke smiled and moved his butt, turned around and looked at the two of them. "Don't be angry, Diana. So far, although he still wants to use you to leave Paradise Island, that notebook is indeed very important. It is a very deadly poisonous gas. Once released on the battlefield, it can kill tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of lives in an instant. Doubtson Carlos pursed his mouth and was stunned. Tens of thousands, not so many people in the entire Paradise Island. Diana's complexion changed, and she stretched out her hand and said, "Let me take a look at the notebook." Steve froze. "How do you know about the notebook?" Then he looked at Duke suspiciously. "It's you." The latter made a gesture of spreading his hands. "Be careful, this notebook is very important." Although Steve was embarrassed, he took out the notebook and handed it to Diana. After opening, there are texts written in Turkish and Sumerian on it. This is a formula, a new type of gas, mustard gas, with hydrogen replacing sulfur. Diana looked at it and said. Of course, for her, she didn't quite understand what this meant. Okay. All right. Judging from the equipment used during World War I, gas masks at this time can't stop the hydrogen-based gas. Once released, people on both sides will die miserably. Duke shrugged again. Diana, don't blame him. After all, he is just an ordinary person. He doesn't believe in the existence of the god of war. So in his opinion, it's a joke that you are going to kill Ares. Diana understood Duke's reminder, and then threw the notebook back on Steve's chest. She said so much about her feelings. She was treated as a clown, right? Steve felt very sad, sick with a language barrier. Doubtson Carlos translated it, of course, only the first half. World War I. What does this name mean? Steve was confused again. You must know that there is no such title yet. After the outbreak of World War II, this war was named World War I. Diana was very angry. She felt that her enthusiasm was being treated as a joke. She leaned on the bow of the boat, not knowing what she was thinking. There's no need to be angry. Let alone him. Even if I hadn't come into contact with F-Asian notebook, I wouldn't know that above mortals would be such a magical world. Duke comforted Rode. Diana. The well frog can't talk about the sea, the summer insect can't talk about the ice, how can the sparrow know the lofty aspirations? His vision is restricted by education, knowledge, and cognition. It can't be blamed on him. You should know that you are not all the way. Duke shook his head. This must be talking bad about him again, and Steve is pissed off. It's a coincidence that he didn't know what to do. People don't translate. Obviously, the two Amazons liked Duke more than him, so he knew the name Duke. How do you see that he has no intention of helping us find Ares at all? Doubtson Carlos asked. Do you believe that World War II will break out? World War II, what? The explosion, the outbreak. Duke and Carlos beeped in confusion. Such a war will happen again. Diana pricked up her ears too. Duke had mentioned it to her. His world was one of World War I and World War II. Could it be that this time she couldn't stop Ares, the god of war? Do you believe it? Doubtson Carlos shook his head. Look, you don't even believe that World War II will break out. He is immortal. How can he believe in the existence of Ares, the god of war? From the beginning, he didn't think about killing Ares. He even felt that Diana is he mentally ill. He just wants to use Diana's light to leave Paradise Island and complete the mission. Beside, Diana wrinkled her nose in anger. Don't be so straightforward. Steve blinked, and he understood Diana. Of course, his essence is still on the standpoint of justice. After finishing speaking, Duke stopped talking, stood up and walked to the side of the boat, and began to write and draw on it with his index finger. What are you doing? Doubtson Carlos asked. It's too cold, I have to take off the warmer. What? Is it a spell? Diana asked. Okay. The dark words were written all over the rim of the small sailboat, and the moment the spell was written, the wind calmed down. Without the cold wind blowing, the temperature rose naturally. Steve looked up at the sail. The sail was blown by the wind, making a rattling sound. Obviously there is wind, but they can't feel the wind. It's amazing. What kind of power is this? One boat, don't say I didn't take care of you. Duke glanced at Steve, and Doubtson Carlos translated the sentence. Sleep, sleep, it's dark, go to sleep. After finishing speaking, Duke moved closer to Diana. "I'll sleep with you." "Diana." Doubtson Carlos laughed. "Emotions are not for me, but for our Diana." "Oh, then you can work hard, our Diana is not an ordinary person." As she said that, she also moved to Duke's side, covering her body with the cloak. "Sandwich?" Duke was a little embarrassed. For the first time in his life, he felt that his life had reached a climax. Steve raised his eyebrows full of envy, and ran to the other side of the stern, the single dog. The next day, early in the morning, Diana and Doubtson Carlos woke up from sleep one after another, and looked around in a little confusion. "Good morning. Luckily for us, someone took us for a ride and saved us a lot of time. Welcome to gracious London." Diana complained, "It's so ugly." There was thick smoke everywhere, the whistling whistle, and a decadent smell in the air, which was very depressing and dull, far from the freshness of Paradise Island. "Yeah, not everyone likes it. I think it's okay." Carlos looked around excitedly, with a different style from Paradise Island. At this moment, Diana realized that there was one person missing. "Where is Duke?" Steve was silent for a moment, then pointed up. Diana looked up in astonishment, and found that Duke was standing on top of the cross mast, with one hand resting on the mast and the other on his hips, and his body was swaying slightly as the boat swayed. For some reason, Diana suddenly felt a BGM, the medallion calls. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, Captain Rasparo appeared on the stage, with BGM. Cough, forgive a playful person. End of this chapter. Chapter 13 Touching the First Talent. A man with his own BGM. By the way, where did the music come from? After being stunned for a while, Diana finally realized that the feeling was hummed by this guy himself. I don't know why, but there is an epic feeling of sailing on the sea. But. Hey, what are you doing? Don't disturb me, let me enjoy this moment of loneliness quietly. Duke waved his hand. He is not a man with his own BGM. He hummed the song, The Medallion Calls. Of course, it is only, % similar. Diana raised her eyebrows. Lonely? If she was a time traveler, she would definitely know a word, second disease. Doubtson Carlos felt that Duke at this moment was very stylish. Steve has a constipated expression on his face, feeling that everyone on this boat is sick. He doesn't count. When the billowing smoke hit our faces, the whole taste of loneliness changed, the wind had changed, and the billowing black smoke from the diesel steamer sailing ahead with their schooner nearly sprayed him in the face. Ahem. Duke quickly jumped off the boat. I don't like London. Me too, it's so ugly, won't the people here be poisoned to death? Diana frowned. The grey sky and the city are also grey, giving people a dull and depressing feeling. The whole city was full of thick smoke, like a battlefield full of gunpowder. Maybe, it's poisonous, just get used to it. Duke shrugged. You can get used to this? Diana expressed surprise. Get used to it, don't underestimate humans, Diana. Duke smirked. He remembered a joke from his previous life. When the zombie virus struck, the whole world would fall and only the Chinese could survive. You have to admire, we Chinese people have great physiques. Drink melamine milk for breakfast, eat deep-fried dough sticks or steamed buns made with sulfur, and then have Sudan red salted duck eggs, eat some vegetables containing pesticides and pork containing clenbuterol at noon, and get into black hearts at night. Cotton is made into a quilt and you can still sleep soundly. After landing, Diana didn't ask the silly question of, why are they holding hands, because Duke had already told her that women should not be casual. On the contrary, Doubtson Carlos looked around with great interest. If Duke hadn't discovered it early, this woman would probably get lost at In addition. Diana is not very obtrusive because of the cloak, but she is different. The simple cloak is still Amazon's dress, and there are two long swords pinned to the back. Is she a double wielder? In the end, I still went to buy clothes. Then there's that funny fat paper, Steve's secretary. Thank goodness you're not dead. The two hugged politely. Great, I thought you were dead before I got your call. Etta Candy smiled and held out her hand to Diana. He disappeared for weeks with no news at all, very unlike him style. Let me introduce myself, my name is Etta Candy, and I am Steve Trevor's secretary. What's a secretary? Diana was curious. I have to do everything. I will go wherever he asks me to go, and I will do whatever he asks me to do. In our place, this is called a slave. I really like her, Etta Candy boasted, glancing at Steve. Okay. Ladies please. It is indeed similar to slaves, but our salary is not bad, we are another kind of manual labor. In the end, the heroine changed into a costume similar to the one in the plot, covering up all her beauty, and Doubts and Carlos is similar, but hers are tighter and more sculpted. And trousers, straight trousers are more capable. Forgive Duke, he didn't study clothing, and he didn't have much research on British clothing in the 20s. But in fact, it is not much different from modern clothes. The British retro style is everywhere on the street, and Duke has nothing to accept. After a noisy meeting, everyone saw Sir Patrick, the disguised god of war Ares. The system suddenly alerted, warning, warn, host, it has been detected that the person in front of you has demigod level strength, with the host's current strength, he is by no means an opponent. It is recommended that the host flee this place immediately, or, surrender. Surrender your sister. Run away from your sister, if you run away, you will definitely be targeted. Duke kept a polite smile all the time. This is your leader. How can he say that, can you believe it? Diana broke out violently for the first time, and is your job just to give them that notebook? No. You didn't stand your ground, you didn't resist. Because we can't change anything. Steve was distressed, his title was only a captain, and he couldn't play a role in a group of generals. This is Ares. It is absolutely impossible for him to negotiate or surrender. Diana was very disappointed and looked at him coldly. Maybe what Duke said is right, you are just using me to leave heaven, it's just an island. Turning to leave. Duke and Carlos snorted coldly, he should have been killed at that time. Duke heard his name being called. Steve finally knew that Duke had said something bad about him, he frowned and glanced at him and said quickly, I will take you to the front line, we will most likely die. Oh, it's a terrible idea, we need to get some help. As he said that, he went out immediately, looking for his good friend. Diana hesitated for a moment, but followed. What should we do now? Diana seems to have a good impression of that spy. Duke, you have to work harder. Doubts and Carlos whispered. She didn't have the slightest affection for Steve, and when she was on Paradise Island, she suggested killing him. Duke scratched his head, what are you talking about, let's go, let's follow up first. Now Diana's goal is to kill Ares. And he was in 1918, and he had no connections at all. It was just a dream to go to the battlefield in a short time. Of course, he can tell Diana that Sir Patrick is Ares, and then a big battle breaks out, but, whether he can kill Ares is another matter. The most troublesome thing is that you may be besieged by people who don't know the truth. It will not be good to be stained with the blood of innocent people at that time. Therefore, it is better to follow Steve in a short time. Then, in a chaotic tavern, I met two acquaintances, top undercover Samir who could speak multiple languages, and Charlie, superb sniper. This is Diana, Carlos, Samir. Hello. This one, the Duke from the East. Hello. Samir instinctively felt that Steve didn't like the Duke in front of him, but he shook hands out of politeness. At this moment, the system sounded again. Congratulations to the host, you have acquired the language talent, English, proficient, French, proficient. Duke was stunned for a moment, surprises always come inadvertently. Because it is now a double play, the full-level players in the old pirate will finish the book by the end of this month. I try to keep 2 updates a day, and sometimes I only have 1 chapter when I feel unwell. It seems that I'm not very young anymore, double opening really makes my mind a little messy, and I often write the wrong protagonist's name, but fortunately, I will get used to searching. End of this chapter. Chapter 14. Aren't we going to catch werewolves? Yes. Duke hugged Samir excitedly, but fortunately he was still sane and didn't kiss him. Thank you. Thank you. This made Samir look confused, maybe this guy is not gay. Diana? Doubts and Carlos. Steve, 0. Thank you, Samir, thank you very much. Duke let go of Samir, and patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Diana was still a little dazed, what's the matter, but she quickly came to her senses, frowning with chills on her face. Wait, you can speak English? I really encountered a lot of liars today. No, I just learned it. Duke naturally knew what the heroine was thinking, but he didn't explain. This is a kind of a magic called talent duplication, which can take your talent, use it on myself. Then he glanced at Doubts and Carlos. Carlos, aren't you curious why I shook hands one by one when I was on the island? That's talent duplication. Unfortunately, the probability of success of this magic is very low. Fortunately, I finally got when it comes to linguistic talent, Mudun, it's such a great feeling to be able to understand other people's words. Oh, I remembered, there is such a thing. Doubts and Carlos nodded to Diana. On the way to send Duke to rest, he almost shook hands with someone when he met one. Feelings are the reason. At first, she thought Duke was just trying to take advantage. Then Duke said, I like you, again in English, French, German, Spanish and some languages of some small African countries, and Diana believed it. It's just that, what did you mean by saying this to her? Okay. In order to celebrate that the Duke is finally able to speak, let's have a drink. Steve greeted, but felt a little aggrieved in his heart. Nima, I can't speak ill of him now, but it seems that even if he can't understand English, he doesn't dare to speak of him. There is a translator next to him anytime and anywhere. Everyone sat down one after another, and Samir asked curiously while drinking, magic, is there really such a thing as magic in this world? Of course there is. As he spoke, Duke drew a few strokes on the table with his drink on his face. Try it. Try what? Samir was still beeping in a daze. Duke took an empty wine glass and put it in front of him, and motioned, push it. What? Samir grabbed the glass and pushed it on the table in a daze, but when he pushed it to the position of the wine text, he felt a strong resistance, as if he was pushing a wall. He glanced at Duke in astonishment, and pushed it up again in disbelief. After pushing a cup, his face was flushed, his ears were dripping with sweat, and he almost collapsed, so he took a few sips of wine to catch his breath. Well, he finally believed that magic really existed in this world. You have to know that although he is not of the strength type, as far as the strength just now is concerned, if you really hit the glass against the wall, the glass will definitely shatter, but this. Although it is the resistance like a wall, the impact feels like hitting on rubber, and there is air in front. This is incredible. Charlie next to him was still drinking, but he seemed to have woken up, so he pushed the cup, and found that it couldn't be pushed. Magic? Diana rolled her eyes, what a handsome, speechless. However, this person really gave her more and more surprises. Steve, may God bless you, it's nice to see you again. Charlie is still a drunk now, and he lost the shock just now when he became addicted to alcohol, and grabbed 2 glasses and drank one by one. Steve is beeping in his heart, God bless you, why does it sound like he is dying? Very unlucky. So, what's the job this time, boss? Samir asked. He instinctively wanted to leave here, but all the magicians appeared, and this time the job would cost him his life, but the appearance of magic opened a new door for him, excited and stimulated, wanting to explore the truth and the mysteries of magic. Up to 2 days, you need to prepare supplies and a pass to go to Belgium. Steve said. How much is the trip? Charlie asked. Here's the thing, well, it's a short trip, and then you get a lot. So, it's for a noble cause, liberty, friendship, and ending war. Okay. So you have no money? Samir said. No. Oh, please, Steve, do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? This is a powerful magician, aren't we going to catch a werewolf, a vampire, or a headless horseman? Samir pointed at Duke and shrugged, I'm scared and excited at the same time. Steve scratched his head and rolled his eyes. This trip was to kill Ares, the god of war, which was much more powerful than werewolves, vampires, and headless horsemen. Oh, damn it, Steve, isn't this true? Samir saw something strange. Of course not. How powerful do you think I am, dare to catch? At this moment, the fat secretary appeared, you are here, sorry I am late. Sir Patrick. Diana turned to see an acquaintance. Sit down, gentlemen, Miss Prince. Well. I guess you're plotting something that might land you in the military, in court, or in your life. Steve, I guess you're here to stop us. And no, on the contrary. I was once a young man, and if I was strong enough, I would do the same thing. What you are going to do is very honorable, so I am here to help. Of course, in private, Sir Patrick took out a thicker envelope. These should be enough for a few days. Thank you, sir. I'm so happy. Take care of yourself and wish you good luck. After speaking, Sir Patrick turned and left the bar, and the fat secretary left as well. He's a good officer, laughed Diana. Duke was tasting the delicious gin, and he burst out laughing when he heard the words, "Oh, good man." Diana, let me tell you a survival trick. In the human world, don't trust anyone easily, especially don't be the first an impression is deceiving. What do you mean? Diana frowned, she felt that this guy was always talking to her. Just now, my sense of magic power flow was blocked. Duke said, and slowly put down his wine glass. Do you know what this means? Diana frowned tightly. Magic flow? What does it represent? It means that his strength is far above mine, and I can't see through his truth. This. Diana was stunned. She knew that Duke would not target him indiscriminately. Could there really be something wrong with Sir Patrick? Steve was even more shocked. You mean, Sir Patrick is also a magician? I didn't say that, I just said that his strength is above mine. Duke picked up the glass again and took a sip of the wine. At this moment, the door of the tavern opened, and two familiar figures walked side by side. Came in. Duke was stunned, carefully identified it, and then. Puff. A sip of wine was sprayed out and sprayed on Charlie's face. How could they appear here? End of this chapter. Chapter 15. Empress Mara is very interested in him. Both of them looked like soldiers, wearing military overcoats, military leather shoes, and leggings. They looked like they had just retired from the battlefield, and the smoke of gunpowder smoke had not yet dissipated. Although the appearance is slightly different, it is still the familiar face in memory. Uncle Wolf Hugh Jackman, and the other is Saber-Toothed Tiger Victor. I don't know, the actor's name is Duke, the half-brother of Uncle Wolf in X-Men, Wolverine. Unexpectedly, they would appear in London, England. There's nothing wrong with that though. Logan was born in 1832, when he traveled back then, Uncle Wolf was almost 200 years old. The two brothers have been through countless wars together, from the American Civil War to World War I, to World War II, and then South Vietnam. After all, it is long-lived. In order not to arouse suspicion, it can only migrate around. During the Civil War and World War I, Victor was still brotherly, but as the number of killings increased, Victor's murderousness was completely stimulated. It had already popped up during World War II, until it killed its chief in South Vietnam, and was taken away by William Stryker. After that, it completely became a killing weapon. At this moment, Victor's murderous nature has not yet been aroused. Duke only remembered that Logan was sent to Europe in 1915 to participate in the Belgian War. After that, I don't have any impression. He reads less comics. It's 1918, so, he stayed in Europe for 3 years. It seems to be different from the ones in the comics. Could this be the 40% discrepancy judged by the system? After all, the system said that the overlap with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is 60%, so doesn't that mean there is a 40% difference? Sushir felt Duke's gaze, and Victor turned his head and gave him a fierce look. What are you looking at, yellow-skinned boy? Victor, don't cause trouble, we're just here for a drink. Logan hurriedly held down his brother, and then smiled apologetically at Duke. Well, I smiled, but the corners of my mouth curled up. Duke didn't care either. An Xian drank and stopped paying attention to the two of them, but his ears were still listening to their words. His luck is good, the goddess of luck took care of him today. Samir said a cold joke. Oh, Brother Bing. Are you just withdrawn? The boss asked with a smile. He has seen many soldiers withdrawn from the front line these days. The victory of the war is in sight, and it will be over soon. Of course, the soldiers have to go home one after another. In mid-August, the main force of the German army had already been disintegrated. On September 9, the army of the Kingdom of Bulgaria was defeated and announced its surrender on the 15th. On October 29, the Ottoman Empire surrendered, that is, surrendered on November 10. The entire Allied country was left with only the German army gritting its teeth to support it. But the surrender time will not be too long. Duke finally knew the current time clearly. On November 1918, there were 7 days before the surrender of the German army and the end of World War I. Yeah. Victor took a sip of his drink and snorted. Which army are you from? The boss asked again, free of charge. He admired the soldiers from the bottom of his heart. The 13th Army of the Frontier Force, Logan said. The 13th Army? Then you shouldn't be here. I heard, the 13th Army is still fighting fiercely. The boss was curious. It's fine if you don't talk about it. Victor got angry when he said it. He slammed the table and cursed. The 13th Army has long been defeated. That bastard commander is an idiot. A battle that must be won, unexpectedly let him forcefully pay for most of the army. Our brother's army has been crippled, and less than 10 people survived. No one took him in, so he simply. The boss sighed empathetically. Hey, I am really afraid of meeting idiot commanders on this battlefield. It sounds like you have a lot of stories. Logan said after taking a big sip. Oh, it's nothing compared to you. It's not worth mentioning. It's not worth mentioning. The tavern owner scratched his leg, which was injured in his early years, and his leg was sore when it was cloudy. I like soldiers. Your wine, it's free today, drink it hard. Thank you, boss. Logan toasted. Diana looked at Duke curiously. You are paying attention to them. Why, they also have problems. Well, I sensed a different fluctuation. Although I'm not sure what they are, but Anla, they are not as powerful as me, and they can easily rub against the ground. Duke smiled and took a sip of his wine. Gin wine still needs to be tasted, gulping like Victor. It's like chewing peonies. But it's not a good wine either. Steve is so picky, he can't bear good wine. It's just that Duke hasn't had crooked fruit wine much, and it's still a 1918 wine, an antique. Steve feels that his 3 views have been subverted. Sir Patrick, who is in a high position, is actually a powerful magician, and the 2 big soldiers who suddenly appeared are not ordinary people. Shit, although it is said that these 2 are not very powerful, they are compared with Duke. If it was him who went up, it is estimated that he would be wiped out immediately. Sir Patrick. By the way, should I tell Candy? Steve worried. Tell her why? Duke asked. That's. Duke waved his hand and interrupted him. Forget it, she's not good at acting. If you really tell her, she will be in danger. My perception tells me that he is stronger than Diana. Although not sure if he is a decent villain, but such a person will not kill an ordinary person for no reason. But if he knows the details of the other party, then it is not necessarily so. Yes. Yes. You shouldn't have told her. Steve suddenly realized. Only Samir heard a question and glanced at Diana involuntarily. From Duke's words, it seemed that the beautiful woman in front of her was more powerful than Duke. Okay. No wonder she is also going to the battlefield. In this era, women still had a low status, and women going to the battlefield would be regarded as mocking the incompetence of men. Or those who do that kind of occupation will go to the frontline troops. Okay, drink less, we have to leave tomorrow. Here is your room card, the Old Wine Barrel Hotel, opposite. Candy has already booked a room for you. Steve said. The key was handed over to Diana, Carlos, and Duke. One is 401 and one is 103. Diana and Carlos live in 401, and Duke naturally lives in 103. Samir glanced at it, and felt that the old man's heart was really big. In today's hotels in London, the conditions on the first floor are the worst, and the higher up the rooms, the higher the grade. Isn't the old man afraid of being angry and belching him away? Hey man, he loses his mind when he faces a beautiful woman. Who knows who wanted to hug Diana just now? You guys go first, I'll sit down for a while. Duke said slowly. Oh. You want to have an affair? Doubts and Carlos glanced at it, but she saw that a very round waitress was winking at Duke just now. You think too much, dear. Duke was speechless, leaving the supermodel in front of him alone, and going to date an orc ant. His aesthetics does not reject those with big skeletons, like Mara, the Empress of the Sea. He likes it very much, but the waitress just now, the skeleton is really big, at least half the size of the Empress of the Sea. Can't enjoy it, can't enjoy it. By the way, why are they also Amazonians from Paradise Island and have never been out? Diana is pure like a blank sheet of paper, while Doubtson Carlos is like an old driver. Diana seemed to have guessed what Duke was going to do, and patted him on the shoulder. Be careful yourself. No, I can't be too lazy, I need to update chapter 2 after tomorrow. Heh. End of this chapter. Chapter 16. I'm actually a magician. London in 1918 still had a medieval style, the grey tones, the narrow and long alleyways, and the bluestone pavement have the tone of werewolves and vampires in movies about to appear. Logan and Victor supported each other, and walked slowly in the dark and narrow alleyway. The so-called black and wind-high murder night. Walking, the two stood still, and Logan turned around. My friend, since you have followed us all the way, why don't you come out and meet? Hee, you are more interesting than I originally imagined. In the shadow of the alleyway, a person walked out slowly, talking while walking. Logan, born in 1832 in Canada, is a rich boy who participated in the American Civil War and the current World War I. Victor, Logan's half-brother. I'm not wrong. As the words fell, the visitor finally walked under the moonlight, showing his true face. I remember you, you are the one in the bar. Duke, of course. Logan frowned tightly. Who is this person, and why does he seem to know him like the back of his hand? Also, he knew about the North-South War, but, what the hell is World War I? Yellow Monkey. Victor also recognized the person in front of him. In fact, they were not drunk. Who are you? Logan stopped the irritable Victor. He was very puzzled, because this person had no murderous intent. Why do you know this? Who would think that he is an old man who is almost 90 years old? Why do you know? You don't need to worry about it. I'm here to invite you to do something big. And this thing is enough to become the pride of your life. Believe me, there is nothing you can be more proud of than this thing it is, Duke said. I'm inviting your mother. Victor roared, and with both hands and claws out of their sheaths, he rushed towards Duke. Victor, Logan instinctively sensed that the person in front of him was very powerful, but before he could stop him, he stabbed out his bone claws and killed him. Anyway, that was his half-brother. The momentum is good, but the speed is too slow. Duke smiled and shook his index finger, then Hula spread a pair of black archangel wings on his back, and he stood up from the ground. Grass. The two people below are beeping in a daze. Is this Nima playing tricks? The two looked at each other, both of them were shocked inexplicably. To be honest, the two brothers have lived for almost a century, and have traveled across half the world, but they have never seen anyone similar to them, and at this moment, they saw each other, even though the occasion of meeting was not very good. Duke hovered in the sky for a while, and then swooped down like an eagle pouncing a chick. The body rotated at high speed, and the huge black wings slapped on Logan and Victor one after another, sending them flying. Then, before the two of them could react, they caught up again, and kicked them away twice with one kick. Damn it, this is a bird, a person. Victor spat out the blood from the corner of his mouth, and a carp stood up and rushed forward again. The spirit is commendable, but it's a pity that there is courage but no strategy. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. What? Victor was dumbfounded. The tiger claws grabbed Duke, but failed to pierce his skin, not to mention the skin, even the clothes are not scratched. Logan was also a little stunned. After rushing over from the side, the bone claws stabbed Duke's back hard, but the result was the same. No entry. This is your strength? I seem to have overestimated you a little bit. Duke shook his head slightly, his body spun at high speed, and the huge wings slapped the two of them away again. You, who the hell are you? Want to know? I'll talk about it after I win. Duke moved again, his wings fluttered, and he rushed towards Victor. These two are far from his opponents. He is now, hero level, late stage strength, neither of them has entered the hero level. Saber-toothed tiger Victor is now, elite level, peak strength, and Logan is weaker, elite level, late stage strength. Compared with him, the two of them are one big realm shorter and three small realms shorter. The saber-toothed tiger has tiger claws and teeth, and also has the same self-healing power and immortality as Wolverine. It is higher than Wolverine in terms of strength, speed, observation, and perception. Relying on the long-term honing of killing, the saber-toothed tiger will break through to the hero level in X-Men 1. And Logan is not Wolverine yet. After being injected with adamantium alloy to become steel claws, his strength directly jumps to hero level, at the second level, otherwise he would not have defeated the once stronger man in a few fights, brother. But now, well, it's completely the rhythm of being tortured by blood. Victor's neck was firmly held, and with a thought, the tiger's claws grabbed Duke's dark angel wings. However, the strategy is good, but unfortunately the vision is not good. Oh. The dark archangel's wings were torn apart, but healed quickly, which made Victor completely dumbfounded. Has the same ability as him, moreover, it looks stronger than him. In the blink of an eye, the almost torn wings healed themselves. The dark archangel's wings are not real carbon-based life wings, nor are they connected to the back nerves, but purely made of magic wings. Therefore, even if the wings were broken, Duke would not feel the pain. Logan didn't see this scene because of blocking the line of sight. He made the same judgment as Victor, tearing his wings apart so that he couldn't fly. Logan, no. Victor saw it, but it was too late to stop it. Duke stretched out his right hand and grabbed Logan's neck like a pattern. Then the wings spread out again and soared into the sky, and flew higher and higher, flying higher and higher, flying higher and higher. The two brothers looked at each other, and they both sensed something was wrong. Is this the rhythm of throwing them down? Damn it. It's so high, although you won't be killed by the fall, it's very painful. Aw. Ow. Eye contact was made, and the bone claws and tiger claws stabbed towards Duke's neck with the greatest force, and they couldn't believe it. It's a wise decision, but it's also a pity. Two runes glowing with purple light appeared on the chest, darkness. Immediately, his body fogged rapidly, or it could be said to be vaporized at a cloud of black smoke, but still in the shape of a human being, but there are no facial features or anything. Seeing this scene at close range, the hair of the two brothers stood on end. Nima, the horror at close range, the bone claws and tiger claws pierced Duke's neck at the same time, but it felt like punching the air, and his hands went straight through. Nima, what the hell is this man? I forgot to tell you, I'm actually not a warrior, but a magician. Duke laughed. Magician? Shall I go to you, magician? Whoosh, before Victor could swear, the huge dive force forced his words back into his throat. Duke was grabbing their necks and rushed towards the ground at super high speed. Ma. Under the impact of this acceleration, it is harder than falling. It's a pity that no matter how you catch it, you still can't catch this weird guy in front of you. I can only watch helplessly as the ground gets closer, closer, and closer. Boom. Cough dash. Blood spurted. The huge impact made even the ground tremble 3 times. There are 2 chapters to be written, and there will be another one in a while, but it is going to pass 0. End of this chapter. Chapter 17. What, killing God? Can we talk now? Duke said. You, who the hell are you? Logan struggled to support his waist, the disc in his waist protruded just now. Victor was even more miserable. His pelvis was cracked, which is the sitting bone in his buttocks. Ahem. Pooh, your sister. Actually, we are the same kind of people, we are all mutants. Duke began to play tricks. What? Victor was confused. Logan, mutants. Why, you don't know, so what do you call yourself? Monster. The two said in unison. Monster? Hee, we are actually gods. What? A long, long time ago, so long ago, that no specific time record was left. At that time, the first team of gods came to the earth and transformed some creatures at that time. And these creatures are modern mutants. The origin. Duke said slowly. He doesn't like to use the name Tenjin Group very much. He always feels like the taste of a certain island, so he simply simplified Tenjin. Logan and Victor have gradually grown their mouths, and the amount of information is too large. Of course, I personally prefer to call myself awakened. Although we are mutants in the eyes of outsiders, we will be called mutants for a long time. Our ability comes from X gene. This is a group of genes that ordinary people do not have. It is latent in the DNA core. If it is not awakened, it will not be detected by the current modern equipment. And our ability will follow the X gene awakening, such as major stimuli, between life and death, and so on. Wait. Logan seemed to be aware of a problem, a long time ago. Then, it was passed down from generation to generation, and they crossed with each other, and even the boundaries of regions were gradually broken. Doesn't that mean that, the whole Earth, all the people, may have the X gene lurking? It can be said that, but not everyone. These people who have the X gene, I call them the Zeta level. This kind of people only have the potential of mutants. It is possible to become a true mutant. But you have to understand that having the X gene does not mean that you will definitely be awakened. Logan remained silent. He never expected that he, who had long been considered a monster, was actually a descendant of the universe god. The same cannot be said for future generations. It can only be said to be the offspring of their experiments. But in terms of level, these mutants can be regarded as the attendants of the cosmic gods, aren't they considered gods? Victor was also a little dazed. It turned out that they were not monsters, Mudun. There was a feeling of elation. Well, we're not acquainted with each other. Although he is a tiger, he is not really stupid. He really did not have murderous intent just now. Although they have self-healing ability, the other party may not be able to kill them, but it is possible to make their life worse than death. Sometimes, this self-healing is also a kind of trouble. So, you really came to invite us to do a big business? Logan was curious. What business? Killing God. What? Cough, cough, cough. As I said just now, they are the descendants of the gods, so they are going to kill the gods now. Moreover, where is God so easy to kill? Shouldn't we be in the same camp? Victor said innocently. Gods are also divided into several types. Some are foreign, some are evolved by the earth itself, and there are the real descendants of gods. In addition, even the cosmic gods who created our ancestors will not regard us as ourselves humans. It would be nice if they didn't treat us like dogs. Well, this is going too far. What we are going to kill now is God of War Ares. It turns out that the myth of the Aegean Sea really exists. Logan suddenly realized. This war didn't originate with him, but he promoted it, Duke said. Ares of the donkey. This bastard is such a bastard. Millions of people have died. It's hell. If you really go to kill him, count me in. Victor roared angrily. Duke glanced at him, and now Victor still has some conscience, and his heart has not been completely eroded by the killing. Ares, god of war. Logan was much calmer. After all, he was a god. Can we really kill him? Is that the son of Zeus? Let him clean up the house. Sorry, almost all the Greek gods have fallen. What? Logan beeped again. Fat, hair, what happened? The iron-blooded Victor trembled. In the dusk of the gods, Zeus led the gods to besiege Ares, but unfortunately he was killed by Ares one by one, and in the end only Zeus was left. He fought all his strength, and then repelled Ares with serious injuries. Created a weapon capable of killing Ares in one go, Duke said. Is that weapon in your hand? Logan asked. I rely on. Ares slaughtered the entire Greek gods alone. Isn't this god of war too strong? With these three-legged cats, can they kill Ares, who slaughtered the gods? No. The weapon is on the daughter of Zeus, my companion. Nanny? Surprised, Victor spoke Japanese. Logan was also stunned. That is to say, the main force who killed Ares this time was his sister. And we are going to help her clean up the miscellaneous soldiers on the road? You can say it this way. Logan nodded. If they went by themselves, he would definitely not go. If so, they could go for a walk. After all, it is killing gods, and it is still quite passionate. Okay. That's it. It's done. I want to see what kind of piss is that donkey-talking dog-talking god of war. The tragic death on the battlefield also made Victor hate Ares very much. They have lived for 90 years, nearly a century. How could they not have a friend? A friend's hometown was destroyed, and a comrade in arms died on the battlefield without even a complete body. It's fine if you don't know, but if you know that Ares, the god of war, also participated in it, you must kill the grandson of the donkey. Anyway, this is a piece of capital that can brag for a lifetime. Indeed, something to be proud of. Duke turned to look at Logan, who nodded. I also want to see the strength of this god of war. Very good, we will meet at the gate of the Old Wine Barrel Hotel at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. With that said, Duke turned and walked towards the entrance of the alley. This is the only chance to kill God in 100 years, if you want to give up, random. Are you kidding me? I'm done with this. Victor roared. Logan. Oh, by the way, remember to hide the matter of Zeus's daughter, because she doesn't know it yet. Oh. End of this chapter. Chapter 18 Duke's Earnest Teachings. 103. Looking at the dilapidated, quaint little room in front of him, Duke smiled slightly. He could see that Steve had a problem with him, but it didn't matter. For him, this kind of hardboard antique medieval style room makes him happier. The higher up the room, the more luxurious and refined it is, and the closer it is to the 21st century. It's boring, those who have come all the way have come here. Wouldn't it be a waste not to feel the atmosphere and style of 1918? Although old, but very clean. Silent all night. Early the next morning, as soon as Duke came out, he saw the brothers Uncle Wolf and Brother Who. He stretched out his hand and said, "Have you eaten yet? If not, let's eat some together." "I've already eaten, when will you do that, donkey?" Victor had a rather irritable temper. "You guys have eaten, but I haven't," Duke said. The outfits of the two have been changed. They are no longer the head soldier equipment, but the denim canvas style similar to the Explorer. The food was ordered in the restaurant, and Steve paid for it anyway. Order whatever was good. As soon as the tables were filled, a pair of beautiful sister flowers walked in at the corner. "Wow, so many!" Doubtson Carlos screamed, and ran to the dining table in a hurry. She was almost starved to death, and then saw the two rough men across the table. "Oh. You really came here? It's over. Diana, you owe me 100 pounds. She giggled. "Understood." The woman rolled her eyes speechlessly. Last night, Carlos insisted on taking a gamble, and forcibly occupied, "will come," so she could only press "won't come." This was an unfair bet, and she was sure to lose. With Duke's ability, it's not easy to subdue him. Although this was a sure-to-lose ending, he still gambled, as compensation for Carlos. After all, he accompanied her out for free. Although, it's not actually. Doubtson Carlos, hello. Hello, Logan. Victor, you, with him? A Duchen, they are brothers and sisters, siblings, or? It doesn't look like it. Also, are you serious about those two apparently medieval long swords around your waist? We have nothing to do with each other. As you know, her name is Diana. Carlos thought the current name was good, and discarded the previous name Vanilla. The two brothers nodded towards them, and the heroine also bowed politely, and sat down to eat. If it had been changed before, Victor would have whistled excitedly when he saw such a beautiful woman. However, after learning that there was Zeus' daughter in it, this kind of thoughts gathered. The daughter of Nema Zeus, even if she is not as powerful as the god of war Ares, it must be a simple and pleasant thing to kill the two brothers. That's not true, she is a girl who can smash a tank into a discus. Logan's temper was relatively calm, and he glanced at Duke, who tilted his head slightly. So the two understood that Diana was the daughter of Zeus. By the way, to get Duke to invite, there must be some skills, your abilities. Doubtson Carlos asked curiously while eating. These two people don't look like the legendary ones. Weak magician. Okay. In her eyes, Duke belongs to that kind of weak style, very thin, a university monk, 178 centimeters, 146 caddies in weight. Orientals are obviously not as strong as Westerners. The two brothers glanced at Duke, and seeing that the other didn't say anything, they quietly stretched out their paws. The table is well placed, just hidden in the corner. Victor showed sharp tiger claws, while Logan stretched out bone spurs from between his fingers, and then retracted. Both Amazons froze, but only for a short time. A little disgusting. Doubtson Carlos patted his chest lightly. Diana was curious, does it not hurt? It was very painful at first, but it will be fine once you get used to it. Logan shrugged his shoulders, obviously not wanting to recall that tragic past. Don't look at them, they are 90 years old. Duke said while gnawing on a pork chop. In the year he traveled through time, pork had already risen to 50 yuan a caddy, and now he had to eat heart. They have come all the way, and they have to eat it no matter what. 90 years old? Diana became even more curious. Oh, it's nothing, it's much younger than me. Doubtson Carlos just paused the movement of his hands, and then continued to eat without paying attention. Well, this bowl of borscht tastes really good. Logan and Victor are stupefied, straight face, straight face. This pretty girl in front of them is actually older than them, but yes, the daughter of Zeus must not be young at this age. For this Doubtson Carlos, he is obviously in the same place as Diana, maybe he is also an old antique. Do human beings live a long life? Diana was puzzled. They have a self-healing factor and cannot be killed, Duke said. This was a secret between the two of them, and it was not surprising that Duke knew about it. In the battle last night, their bones were all broken, but they grew back in a short while, so it's strange that they couldn't see it. Oh, can it be killed? Duke and Carlos suddenly became interested, and reached out to touch the long sword at his waist. Beauty, what are you going to do? The two brothers were taken aback for a moment. Hurry up and eat. Duke knocked on the table. Steve will be here in a while. Oh. As soon as Duke spoke, Carlos put away his evil thoughts and ate his meal obediently. The two brothers once again understood Duke's strength and his position in the team. What the hell are you? Diana was still curious about the identities and races of the two brothers, and how they looked like the demons recorded in the biography. However, after experiencing the fallen angel incident, and what Duke told her to look at people, not the surface, she has become much calmer, and she didn't act based on her feelings at the first time. She didn't feel evil, but she felt the dark atmosphere of ferocity, tyranny, killing, etc. She instinctively disliked these two brothers. The awakened. Duke said. Awakened? Well, I'll tell you this later. Diana, remember what I told you last night. Don't let your first impression sway your judgment when living in human society. Duke taught earnestly. Oh, Steve's husband is here. Then, he greeted vigorously. Come on. Come on. Pay the bill. Seeing that Duke had ordered a table full of meals, Steve's head suddenly became black. Samir patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Look, this is the end of being stingy. Then he ignored the bitter beeping old buddy, and stretched out his hand to Wolverine and saber-toothed tiger. Samir, these two are Steve and Charlie. Hello, Logan, this is my brother Victor. Well, you two are welcome to join this unusual trip. Steve figured it out last night, so he wasn't surprised to see the two of them. After speaking, he smiled wryly and went to pay. If he continues to eat like this, he doesn't know if the little money Sir Patrick gave is enough. End of this chapter. Chapter 19. They are lucky. When passing the Belgian bridge, Diana was shocked by the miserable scene in front of her. Even Doubtson Carlos, who liberated his nature and became very happy after leaving Paradise Island, couldn't help but was so shocked by the sad scene in front of him that he couldn't say a word. There were wounded soldiers everywhere. Some had their ears knocked out, some had their heads broken, some had severed limbs and were carried off, but none of them were intact. The war was coming to an end, and only Germany was left in the Allied powers. The soldiers from the three fronts of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Kingdom of Bulgaria all withdrew one after another. However, the war is coming to an end, but no soldier has a smile on his face. Diana, this is terrible. That's why we're here, Steve said. Oh. This is called miserable. Believe me, you have never seen the real misery. Logan said indifferently while carrying the supplies bag. I have experienced the Civil War, and the weapons at that time it's not as advanced as it is now. Everyone died within a radius of tens of meters with one shot, and they didn't even feel the pain. In that era, if a shell hit you, the result might be half of your body, but you still didn't die. Hiss. The three of Steve took a deep breath. Half of their bodies were blown away, unexpectedly. And many more. American Civil War. Is it the one in the United States in the 19th century? Wutsao, this person in front of you, 100-year-old monster. It is said that there are magicians, and the centenarian monster does not seem to be strange. Ahem, it is only strange if it is not strange. Duke knew clearly that Uncle Wolf's words were not exaggerated. At that time in 1861, weapons and ammunition were still quite backward, and it was really possible that a single shell could not kill people, but could only injure them. Like Uncle Wolf, he was blown away by a shot put. Nowhere is it like now, when a shot goes down, all the dozens of people around will burp. Listen to me, if you are seriously injured on the battlefield, then the best result is to kill yourself on the battlefield. Because the life after that is really called miserable. Uncle Wolf stopped talking and went straight go ahead. He has a brother, and the brother has a wife as beautiful as a flower. This brother is also a lieutenant-level officer. After the Civil War, he became blind and deaf. He can only recognize information by touching Braille with his hands. However, his wife did not abandon him. Do you think that beautiful and flowery wife loves him very much and is very conservative? The answer is quite the opposite. Because her husband was disabled and received a considerable monthly pension, the wife did not leave him. However, she relied on this money to support the handsome boy, and even openly called the handsome boy to the house to show off in front of her face. Anyway, her husband could neither see nor hear. Stimulate. It wasn't until Logan went to visit his comrade in arms that he discovered the tragedy. Naturally, the little boy was killed by him on the spot, and the woman was handed over to his comrade in arms. Although his friend couldn't see or hear him, he already felt something that in the end, his friend didn't shoot his wife. After all, it was his first love, and he had a good past, so he let his wife go. The next day, his friend committed suicide. Of course, the friend's wife died in the hands of Logan in the end. Although his friend couldn't bear it, Logan would not allow that woman to take his friend's money and continue to squander it. This is just a small corner of 1,000 miles. Disabled soldiers who have managed to survive on the battlefield are the most miserable people. Those who died were lucky. Diana didn't speak, she was thinking about what Logan said. Of course, Uncle Wolf didn't mean to say this, it was Duke's request. As a similar person, Uncle Wolf has a lot of life experience, which is very suitable for a heroine, and he is just a university monk that he couldn't guide the heroine, so he asked Logan to mention it intentionally or unintentionally. After a long day of trekking, we finally met in the field. You are late. To escape the sneak attack, Chief. Steve said with a smile, and the two embraced. Nice to meet you. Same. Oh, this is Diana, her companion Doubts and Carlos. They are Duke, Logan, and Victor, our partners this time. Steve introduced. Hello. Hello. Nodding to each other, we know each other. A Duke and a Chief, we are very destined. The Chief smiled self-deprecatingly. After a friendly exchange and picnic, Victor shrugged his shoulders. So, the mission this time is actually, to kill a doctor who likes to play poison gas. What about the god of war Ares? Logan wanted to stop him, but he didn't. God of war? What Ares? The Chief beeped in bewilderment. I knew it was like this. Steve, you're lying to me again. Samir rolled his eyes. No. Is there any deception? I don't remember saying this. Steve said, shaking his head. Yeah, you didn't say that. Samir was speechless. He really didn't say that. He thought it was a werewolf, a vampire, or a headless horseman. Duke smiled. Actually, the task this time is to kill the doctor who played with poison gas, and destroy those possible gas tanks by the way. But I have a hunch that I will meet the god of war Ares there. Because the war is coming to an end, it will be too late if he doesn't come out, and... He pointed to Diana. As long as Diana is here, there is no need to worry about Ares, because he will definitely appear. Diana pointed to herself. Me? You are like a degree light bulb, so bright, didn't you notice? You will attract Ares. Duke smiled. The two brothers Logan and Victor finally understood that Duke was the core of the team, while Steve seemed to be the captain but actually more like a leader. Early the next morning, a group of people finally arrived at the battlefield, the trench position. What's this? Diana asked. This is the battlefield you asked me to bring you to. Where are the Germans? A few hundred yards from this no man's land. Come on, Diana. At this moment, a woman holding a child grabbed Diana's hand. Please help me, please. They took everything, houses, food. Those who failed to escape were caught. Get up and be a slave. Where is it? Felder, at the other end of no man's land. The woman pointed out her finger. Steve walked over in a hurry and said, Diana, we should go, the task is the most important. We have to help these people. These people are dying, we can't just sit back and watch. The next stronghold is at least a day away, the chief called. What are you dawdling for? Charlie urged vigorously. Food is in short supply, villagers are enslaved. I understand how you feel. Women and children. We have to get to the next stronghold before sunset, Steve said. How can you say that, what's wrong with you? Diana was surprisingly angry for the first time. This person actually ignored the tragedy in front of him, he chose to turn a blind eye. How could his heart be so cold? Cold. Maybe Duke is right, this guy only cares about tasks. End of this chapter. Chapter 20 Natural Ability. This is no man's land, Diana, which means no one can walk across it alive. The barracks have been here for almost a year and haven't taken an inch. Because on the other side, a group of Germans are holding machine guns, aim at every inch of land here, it is impossible for you to pass through. Steve is still persuading. So, are we going to die? Diana asked, she couldn't ignore the tragedy in front of her, she clearly had the ability to save them. No. We're saving, it's just, we can't save everyone in the war. That's not our mission. Steve. Samir dragged him away in a low voice. Logan stepped forward suddenly and said, he is right, war is cruel. Sometimes in order to achieve the ultimate goal of victory, one will abandon the process, insignificant people, or things. Are these people insignificant? They are human beings, living beings. Diana asked. I was abandoned once too. Of course, I just said that, what decision to make depends on your own heart. Logan shrugged, he could see that this daughter of Zeus had never seen anything in the world. I'm afraid this is the first time I stepped into this filthy human world from the beautiful god realm, right? Victor grinned with his iconic tiger mouth and said, no one can walk over alive. That was before, not necessarily now. Well, not necessarily. The German camp has Maxim heavy machine guns. The burst of firepower may directly smash Victor into a sieve. Yes, people will not die, but it is estimated that it will be tragic. What do you say? Diana turned her head to look at Duke, who had been silent. Isn't it your mission to protect human beings? Duke replied with a smile. Yes, this is my mission. Diana also smiled, and then put on the starlight flying crown, inherited from Antiope, which represented her awakened warrior heart and sense of responsibility. Duke was a little confused. Are you a robot cat? Where did the starlight crown appear from? And, are you a Sailor Moon? With a transformation? Change clothes instantly. Well, Duke seemed to remember something. Diana should have coated the lasso of truth with an Amazon-specific substance, which allowed the lasso to turn Diana's usual clothes into Wonder Woman's uniform. It was amazing. At this moment, Diana turned into Wonder Woman and slowly stepped out of the trench. Diana, Steve startled. Which F***King show is this from? Charlie swears directly. Victor put his hand on Steve's chest to block him, and smiled playfully, brother, don't worry about it if it's not yours. Also, it's not like no one can walk over alive. He had already seen Steve's thoughts on Diana, and after speaking, he greeted Logan. Let's go, Logan. Let them see, our brothers are amazing. Logan smiled, dropped his cigarette butt and followed. Someone is coming, open fire. 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 On the opposite side, a unified roar sounded from the German trenches. Then in the trenches on our side, the soldiers were all dumbfounded, and they saw an unforgettable scene. The three divided into three groups and rushed towards the German camp. In the middle, the woman seemed to simply use the wristband on her arm to easily block the incoming bullets. It was a guardian silver bracelet, which Hephaestus, the god of fire, forged from fragments of Zeus's aegis, seems to feel her own strength. This battlefield is not as dangerous as she imagined, danger is only for humans, and these bullets are nothing to her. On the left is Victor, who is on all fours, rushing forward with a beast-like posture. On the right is Logan. He runs with a very vigorous posture and is also very fast. Whenever a bullet hits, he can dodge it keenly. The three braved the hail of bullets and charged into battle. His side was completely dumbfounded, and of course, he was also beaten up. Steve looked at Duke next to him. Why don't you go up? What Victor said just now also made him realize the gap. Looking at him, the cannonball was easily blown away, and he was still saying no one can get past it alive. What he said just now was like, clown. The two are worlds apart. Duke ignored him, but turned to look at Carlos. You don't have Diana's equipment and powerful divine power. Those bullets can hurt you. Stay with them. Oh, okay. Doubts and Carlos also noticed that if no one stood in front of her, her body would definitely not be able to withstand the strafing of those bullets. She had seen German bullets during the Paradise Island beach defense battle, but here they were more fierce and dense. But she still held the two swords tightly. Well, protect yourself and don't get hurt. As he spoke, Duke carved darkness on his chest, turned into a ghostly black mist again, and flew out of the trench, like a snake, floating off the ground. It quickly swam away. This scene once again frightened the soldiers in the trenches. Steve has a big mouth and can't close it. Samir's eyes widened in excitement, and his whole body was trembling. Non-stopped at in fact, he didn't think Duke was so powerful. He thought he was something like a magician, but he didn't expect, the man in front of him really could, magic. A magical door opened before his eyes, and he reached out, to grab it. Well, of course the battle has to be won. Doubtson Carlos was also a little surprised. She knew how powerful Duke was, but she didn't expect it to be so magical and weird. Logan sprinted like a meter sprint, and quickly rushed towards the German trenches. At this moment, 3 bullets shot at him. After dodging 2 bullets, he couldn't dodge the third one. In a critical moment, his claws overlapped together. Bang! After breaking a bone claw, he finally blocked the incoming bullets. Logan, Victor yelled. I'm fine. Logan also roared. The bullets became more and more dense. He rolled on the ground and avoided, and the broken bone claws grew again. On the other side, Victor was also under heavy fire, so he had to dodge temporarily. 2 people disappeared from the sight of the German army in an instant, and the Maxim heavy machine gun went crazy and fired at Diana intensively. Well, no silly straight-hitting shields this time around. The female hero huddled behind the shield, struggling to support herself. At this moment, a cloud of black mist rushed over from behind. Whoosh! Well done, Diana, leave it to me. A figure lit up in my mind, Duke. This is the only ability he has mastered now that has the characteristics of the natural system. Darkness turned into a black mist like a dark fruit. Physical attacks are ineffective and can only penetrate his body. Duke plunged headlong into the German camp, spun quickly, and started to pray. Wow, what the hell is this? No, cough. Poof, hoot. The howls continued one after another. End of this chapter.